Seam heads. Our Giants game day coverage begins now.
It's the mosaic.
So before gloves start popping,
diving, he makes the catch,
and bats start cracking,
it is gone.
We bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Lurie.
That's what we do. We talk ball.
On KNBR, the sports leader.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Talkin' Baseball on this Sunday morning as we get ready for Game 3 between the Giants and the Minnesota Twins. And it's been a rough trip so far. Look, the Giants won 2-3 from the Cubs in very exciting fashion. And now they've hit Minnesota, and they're not hitting at all. And they lose last night 2-1. And basically, it was the Elliot Ramos show. He was all over the field last night and hit a big home run, got picked off third base, and they ended up losing the game 2-1 to the Twins. But in these two games, they haven't walked once, and they struck out 17 times. So they're 2-3 on the road trip, and they try to square it up today before coming home to face the Arizona Diamondbacks for the first time. That starts tomorrow night, which is going to be one heck of a series. So there are some players who are not hitting well for the Giants, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, today. Jung-Ho Lee is 0 for 12, and Chapman is hit here and there, long ball here and there, but Flores is slowed down, and Yastrzemski is slowed down, and that's the way they've been the last few days. And with that, you end up getting a couple of losses. But with the games now at 40, that is about the quarter mark of the season, the Giants are still in terrific shape as they come home tomorrow. But for today, it is Landon Roop on the hill, 26 years old. He's 2-3 with a 489 earned run average. That whip is 1.54, and he goes against another tough customer. Let me tell you, Joe Ryan was tough yesterday. He's from the Bay Area. Chris Paddock, the Texas cowboy wannabe. You see him in his outfits after the game. Looks like Clint Eastwood from one of those old movies. And today it's Pablo Lopez, 29 years old. He's 3-2 with a 218 earned run average. And the whip is 0.94, so less than a runner an inning. He's been terrific over the years, and when he was with the Marlins and saw him pitch against the Giants, I thought he was better than Alcantara, and that's before Alcantara had his Tommy John surgery. So Lopez goes today for the Twins. They try to sweep the Giants. The Twins have won 7 straight, and the Giants go to game 41 today. So just very quickly, the Padres, yes, the Padres won over Colorado. Boy, Bruce Jenkins and I'm sure we'll talk about this one. 21-0 yesterday. 21-0 with 5 homers. The Rockies are 6-33, tying the Orioles for the worst 39-game start in the history of baseball, going back to 1900. 6-33 for the Rockies. They've got so many injuries, and the players they have just are not capable right now. The Dodgers lost last night to Arizona. Zach Gallen pitched an excellent game, which means we will not see Zach Gallen in the Diamondback series. He's always pretty tough on the Giants. But he won last night, and Dustin May was the loser. And then the Giants are losers, and Arizona the winners. So the standings. The Padres and Dodgers are essentially tied for first place in the National League West. They are 25-13 for the Padres and 26-14 for the Dodgers. The Giants are 2 back at 24-16. So at that 40-game mark, they're playing 600 ball, which would be the equivalent of 96, 97 wins. So there's no complaints there. Arizona, a team will definitely have to deal with. Definitely. Eugenio Suarez, 12 homers already. Their bullpen is a mess, and we'll see what the Dodger-Arizona game looks like today with Gonsolin going today for the Dodgers, and we'll have to see what happens with Arizona. But my point is Arizona is going to be in this thing. Believe me, they are going to be in this thing. Corbin Burns pitched great last night, and it's going to be these 4 teams. And the Giants are going to have to hit the ball. They're going to pitch, and we know they're going to pitch, and that's going to happen. And they've got a couple of young players kind of in the bullpen ready to get going, and that is Birdsong and Harrison. We'll talk about that too. But it is Mother's Day, and it's a very special day in baseball especially because so many mothers have helped with their sons and their careers and getting those uniforms washed and ready and going to the games like my mother did. She used to sit in the stands at North Shore Park and watch me play in the Little League when we first moved to Miami Beach. But Mother's Day is a special day. It recognizes the female presence in someone's life. And then sometimes it's not your mother. Not everyone has the traditional mother there to help them. It could be an aunt, it could be a cousin, it could be a sister, it could be a neighbor, it could be someone down the street, it could be a teacher. There's someone in the world who cares about you, and that's the important part. So when we celebrate Mother's Day, it's not just mom and dad and the traditional nuclear family, but it's that person who is there for you and gives you that comfort when you need it. So we salute all those people today. In my family, I always like to mention the names. Of course, Bonnie, my sister Renee, who lost her daughter Eileen this year. I know it's a special Mother's Day for Renee today. My sister Marilyn, it's Christina, Barbara, Robin with the girls in Southern California, Marlene, Betsy, of course, with Matt and Will, Susan Manning, who passed away this year, and her daughter Amber, a special day for her, Heather, and then, of course, Emily DeFala, who does a great job with her niece, Rebecca, the mother for Rebecca when M's sister passed away. So those are the people that I remembered today, just some, and I'm sure there's some in your life as well. But it is a special day, Mother's Day, and I'm glad that we could celebrate it on the show today. So it's Giants and Twins today. Then they come home tomorrow with Arizona, and then they face the A's over the weekend, and A's are up in Sacramento, of course, taking on the Yankees this weekend. Aaron Judge hit a couple yesterday. So a lot of baseball to talk about. We're going to start off with Joe Sheehan, and he is the best baseball analyst I know who explains the game. And we'll have Joe with us, and then, of course, Bruce Jacobs will be with us, the professor, and Glenn Kuiper. So we've got a good show for you, and get you ready for Giants baseball on this early Sunday morning. So good morning, everyone, and we'll be back with you right after this.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Fans, you know how I feel about Pave Fine Jewelry. Pave is celebrating its 40th anniversary. Located at 5496 College Avenue in Oakland. Phone is 510-547-7000. Michael Enlick, I've talked about him for so many years. He is the best jewelry designer in the Bay Area. It's time for weddings, it's time for graduation and special family events. Pave Fine Jewelry makes that moment special for you. You'll have it for your entire lifetime. Michael Enlick, I can't say enough about him. He is absolutely the best. PaveFineJewelry.com. Check him out. Fans Gene Bagato checked in from the Tides up in Bodega Bay, and he reports that with the beginning of spring, things are looking pretty good on the Sonoma coast. At the Tides Wharf, the freshest seafood available is being offered for guests to enjoy either in the restaurant or in the fish market to take home. Up at the Inn, large, comfortable rooms with great views await, as well as the Bayview dining room featuring the special creations of the great chef Rennie Madrid. And with Easter coming on April 20th, special menus are being planned at both the Tides Wharf restaurant and the Inn's Bayview restaurant as well. So if you're looking for a great getaway, think no further than the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay. Fans Gene Bagato check. All right, Marty Lurie here, Lamont Wade Jr. Mother's Day, a very special day. Everyone's got a baseball story around their mother.
Just the sacrifice, she put the sacrifices that she did, gave up for me and my brother to be able to play sports, working 2 jobs, being a substitute teacher during the day, working at the downtown post office at night. So, just the sacrifice she would give her time and effort to be able to, for me and my brother to play sports. I owe it all to her.
How about the food and uniforms and just getting you ready?
Yeah, the food, providing food for me and my brother, taking us to school, picking us up from school, taking us to all of our practices and everything like that. And like you said, our laundry for sure, giving us clothes, everything, gifts on our birthdays and holidays and stuff like that. So, yeah, for sure.
Now, was your mother one of those vocal people in the stands? Did you know she was there?
Yeah, she was definitely screaming and yelling, for sure, and walking around and taking pictures of everything. So she was definitely a vocal mom, for sure.
All right, Lamont, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Giants fans, there's no better way to set the game day table than talking baseball with Marty Lurie. Marty keeps rolling on KNBR, the sports leader.
And go.
All right, great to have you back with us. Rafa's trying to get Joe Sheehan on the line, and as soon as he is available, it's early for him as well, we'll go to him. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen today based on what happened last night. First of all, it's Corbin Burns who pitched last night for Arizona. Zach Gallen does pitch today, so that means Merrill Kelly will face the Giants. Brandon Pfaadt, who has pitched really well for Arizona, will pitch on Tuesday. And then Eduardo Rodriguez, a lefty. The Giants have so much trouble with lefties, should pitch against them on Wednesday. This is going to be a very, very good series. But last night, as I said, they lost 2-1. Again, 4 hits for them, 3 hits for Elliot Ramos, and 1 was a blast. He's hitting the ball hard. He's kicking the ball around a little bit in the outfield, and Raf, when we get the professor on, we'll talk a little bit about that. But 1-4-1 for the Giants last night. They're starting to make errors, which is a little disturbing. They've got 20 errors in their last 24 games, and that's a lot. They had 3 in the first 16 games. Last night, maybe Adames could have been a little bit better on a double play. Again, Will and I will talk about making those double plays. We have to shovel the ball. But they're just not hitting. And this has been a problem that has gone on most of the year. They've had their moments where they've hit the ball hard. But overall, there's those 4 or 5 spots in the order, and it's something that will definitely be part of the show, where they're just not getting any production. And whether it's Patrick Bailey, the second base situation with Fitzgerald out, Koss had a beautiful bunt last night in the 9th inning. Beautiful bunt to get on. Look, it's only a 2-1 game, and he leads off against a guy throwing 100, and he laid a beautiful bunt down, and then Yaz, a tough at bat, slap one back to the box, and Duran turned the 1-6-3 double play, and then Adames bounced one off his knee again or his ankle, and then he took a third strike, and that was the end of it last night. But for Logan Webb pitched a great game last night. He's had 9 starts, 6 of the starts, 2 runs or less, and he's really gives you those 6 innings, 7 innings. He's pitched great. He just can't get a win, and that's what's going on. But at the first base situation, we just heard from Lamont, they're last when you look at all the first basemen in the major leagues, hitting 169 with a homer. That's it from first base. So the point is, at some point, the Giants are going to have to deal with some of the spots in the order, because once you get past Ramos, let's face it, Chapman is 4, Flores is 5, and, he's going to wear down. Still up there in the RBI race, which is amazing with 33. But after that, then you get Ramos, who's been hot and cold. He's hot now. And then it's Wade, 150, Bailey 189, and then the second baseman, not much. So, in baseball today, you can work around that lineup, and they're just going to have to get more production. And this is the quarter mark. This is game 40 is down. They're on a pace for 96, which is fabulous, but there's a long way to go. And Buster is going to have to come up with some evaluation on figuring out what to do at the end of this order. But today, the game is Landon Roop, 7 games for him, 35 innings pitched, 40 hits given up, 5 homers in the 35 innings, a little high. But he's got 39 strikeouts, 14 walks, only his 31st game in the big leagues. And I'd say his spot is somewhat tenuous in the rotation. People are screaming for Birdsong, who's been very good in the bullpen. Harrison, I thought, looked very strong. Boy, is he throwing the ball hard or what? So maybe he's the guy who could come into the bullpen if Roop continues to struggle, and he is struggling a little bit. Lefties 254 with a homer. Righties 305 with 4 homers. Runners in scoring position, 9 for 29. Not great. And first time through, 291 and 276 and 286. Only Harrison Bader has seen Landon Roop, so he's going to throw that curveball today and the fastball, but he needs that other pitch, and that's been the big problem for him. Jung-Ho Lee, as I said, 0 for 12, but more importantly, he is the guy in that number 3 spot, and he's 8 for 42, if my numbers are correct, in his last 42 plate appearances. And you put Adames in front of him, who, will hit a home run once in a while and get a couple of hits, but Adames still buried down in the deep 200s, and that's part of the problem for the Giants. They've got to get something in that middle of the order that is consistent, and that's something Larry Krueger and I have talked about a lot, and we've talked about it on the show. But Encarnacion is coming back. He's out until at least May 23rd. He's played up at Sacramento. So that's good news, and he'll do his rehab up there. They've got him on the 60-day DL, and because of that, he can't be activated until May 23rd. But he will come back, and he's going to get a lot of first base. If Lamont doesn't have it together by May 23rd, you're going to see Encarnacion in there against righties and lefties. And Casey Schmidt will be back at some point too, but I'd say for VR, his time is limited. They just don't use him. But Encarnacion, who got hurt in spring training in a foolish way, for some reason they put him in right field in a meaningless game, and he dove for a ball and fractured the knuckle, whatever it was, his hand. So, it's healed up, but they had to put him on a 60-day DL, which means he can't be activated until May the 23rd. So That's what's going on with him. So they got to hit a little better. Pablo Lopez, lefties 246. So Yaz, Jung-Ho Lee, Lamont Wade, Bailey, if he's in there today. From the left side, you can maybe we'll see Wisely in there at second base today. Lefties 246 with a couple of homers. Righties 161 without a homer. He's 57 and 51 lifetime. Maybe you can get close to runners in scoring position. Mortal 7 for 28, and then 2 out runners in scoring position, 4 for 13. So get him in the stretch. Maybe you can do some damage to him. So the Giants are going to have to get on against this guy. It's not that simple. Minnesota's on playing good ball now, and their bullpen is fairly well rested. They had to use their guys last night, but they're not afraid to use them back-to-back. Giants' bullpen is absolutely rested and ready to go today. Adames 2 for 17, Chapman 1 for 5, Flores 2 for 14. This is all off Lopez, and Yaz 1 for 15. So together, those guys are 6 for 51 against Pablo Lopez. So the Giants have their hands full today. But when that happens, that's why we love baseball. And our contest is going today, if you want to enter it, for dinner for 2 at Original Joe's in North Beach, Westlake, or West Portal. And just guess the score of today's game. Tweet it in at Baseball Marty, or you can call Raf at 808 KNBR. And then we'll have a second winner for the new opening of Original Joe's in Walnut Creek, which is going to open probably about a month or so. And then we'll redeem those at the end of the summer. But believe me, you're going to love going to the new Original Joe's in Walnut Creek. It's going to be fabulous. So we have a winner there. And then Raf comes up with just one of the contestants, and we have hundreds who enter the pool. So one person gets dinner for 2 at Soto Mare with Rich Azolino and Laura, and I got to see them the other night. So I had an interesting night the other night, being honored by the Italian-American Bar Association for my work as a lawyer, and the mayor was there. I got a proclamation from the city on Wednesday night, and Al Chiantelli, the former judge, who's now part of the Italian-American Bar Association, was there, and so many judges and lawyers. Woe was there, the family, and quite a night for me. And I made a speech and the whole thing. So that was on Wednesday night. So it's been some week, and we've got the Uncle Abe Award. Is going to be given out tomorrow night at the high school awards banquet. I'll be there to do that. And Tim Reardon Jr. Is going to get that award tomorrow night. And he's done a great job in the Reardon family. We're going to honor them as well. So a lot going on this Sunday morning. I know it's early. We've got a good show for you. We'll take a break, come back with Bruce Jenkins right after this.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Fans, it's great to have Grant Power back with us. He is the president and CEO of Nations. Grant, what is going on with Nations in the Bay Area?
It's been a really exciting year of bringing in new members of the Nation family and seeing our brand branch out over our Northern California market. Lots of work. I've learned a ton, even though I've been here for a while. And we have a very busy summer of opening up new stores. I'd say the other big update, which is always true, is that our strawberry products, our strawberry pancake, strawberry French toast, or a very famous strawberry cheesecake, or the strawberry tart, that's been part of our Nation's tradition for decades. We have the same supplier coming up from Oxnard down there in Ventura County, California, and really excited to get those products into our customers' mouths.
Well, great to hear it. Grant, if one wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Give me a call on my cell phone, 510-612-0036, area code 510-612-0036. Give me a call directly, and we'd love to give you some guidance and then support you in your introduction to the Nations family.
Wow, fabulous. Grant Power, President, CEO of Nations. Have a good day. Thanks, Grant.
My pleasure. Great to be on.
Fans, great news. If you enjoy Original Joe's, there's a new Original Joe's coming to Walnut Creek, opening late May, early June. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It is going to be fabulous. 300 seats, 13,000 square feet, 3 outdoor patios with 90 outside seats, a full exhibition counter and cocktail lounge. You know, that's the best. And the cocktail lounge will have a multitude of TVs to watch the Giants and the dreaded A's if you want to. It's the first opening of an Original Joe's in 70 years in a new market, and this is really going to be something. 9 years since opening in Westlake, so this is going to be fabulous. It will have a private dining room with accommodations up to 40 people, with its own private bar and patio. It fits Walnut Creek like a glove. This is going to be something else. I can't wait to do some events at the new Original Joe's in Walnut Creek, coming late May, early June.
Look through the window of the Original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see 2 guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Lurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
This is Buster Posey. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially my mom and my wife. Mom, thank you for all the sacrifice and hard work you put in raising all of us. And to my wife, Kristen, thank you for taking care of our babies.
All right, Raph, great job in going back in our archives and coming up with some of those Mother's Day greetings. Bruce Jenkins, good morning. How are you?
Hi, good. Marty, how's it going?
Very good on this Mother's Day. Any thoughts that you'd like to share on Mother's Day?
Well, you know, we're hearing from our girls all over the country. I'm thinking of my own mom who lived a great life, great long life, and great memories. I was raised in a really comfortable, fun surroundings without a lot of stress, and you know that's a very meaningful thing. You see, some of your friends they're not that fortunate. You know, their parents had issues. They split up, and it was a tough go trying to make everything work. But I was very lucky. My parents were very much in love for 38 years, and I got to benefit from a house full of love.
Wow. Yeah, my mother was a big baseball fan. I tell the story. I took my mother to May 15th or so of 1956. I took her to Ebbets Field, and Carl Erskine no-hit the Giants, and that was Mother's Day. And,
yeah, well, I one summer, Marty, I got mononucleosis, and you're laid up for quite a while. You're in bed, and my mom was taking care of me, and we had the Dodgers on every day with Vin Scully, and my mom started listening to Vin Scully going, this guy is, I feel like I'm at the game listening to this guy. And by the end of my illness, she was a full-on Dodger fan strictly because of Vin Scully on the radio.
Yeah, it's amazing how loyal the mothers are and the female part of our audience. And I was telling someone the other day that my mother lived into her 90s, and she was in Miami and would listen to the Marlin games all the time. And she couldn't stand Braden Looper. She'd say, why do they put him in? You know, and she was managing, you know, at 94 years old. So it's fun. It's fun. Well, let's talk a little Giants baseball here. You know, Wrigley, they did well and hung in there against the Cubs, and all the parts seemed to work. And now they run into the buzzsaw of the Twins, and now they're not hitting again.
Yeah, well, the Twins, they won 7 in a row. They were pitched really well. I mean, last night, Joe Ryan, I'm watching this guy. They said he hadn't been feeling well. You could see in his face he wasn't terribly comfortable. But a couple of nights before, I'd watched the Dodgers kid Sasaki, you know, who's a real big talent, and his fastball is just plain ordinary. There's no other way to put it. And it's straight as a string. It got hammered. He's got an unhittable split. And I'm watching Joe Ryan. You know, a lot of people don't know who he is, but he's a local guy for us. But he was buzzing fastballs last night, exactly where he wanted them to. Just such a big difference between having that as an out pitch, which he had time after time, and not being able to rely on it.
It's a command, too.
Absolutely.
Look at Paddock. Look at Chris Paddock, who's as goofy as ever. He dresses up as Clint Eastwood after, you know, that's the way he walks around. Yeah, it was, and now they get Lopez today. But Bruce, there's part of this offense. Look, they're built on pitching and that great bullpen and the starting pitching, and they have hit in the clutch, and they're doing all those little things to win. But boy, there are parts of this lineup that just cannot get going. And at some point, this is 40 games. It's a quarter of the season. You got to deal with it.
Well, that's pretty much who they are. I think they're going to get Encarnacion back near the end of the month, I guess, and that could work out at first base and DH. He's a big stick, but he's you look at the Padres. Top of the eighth, Padres up 19-0. I mean, good grief. And the Dodgers, Ohtani with a fully dramatic 3-run homer. The Arizona, who we get next, is loaded with good hitters, and Suarez is the big guy in the lineup. And the Giants just don't have that. And the fans are going to have to live with that. They have their great moments, and a lot of guys can go deep and will, but there's a big difference in this division alone in the run production category.
Yeah, I think Buster's going to have to evaluate that first base situation, and to put Encarnacion in there, which sounds like if Wade doesn't get it together within the next couple of weeks, that's going to happen. You're still asking a lot from an unproven player. Who did a little bit last year. I think they're going to have to deal with that end of the order because you get past Ramos or even two Ramos, and you get 4 or 5 spots. But I think you're right. I think there's not that much you can do, and they're going to have to hang in there with their pitching and everything else. Let's talk a little bit about the Rockies games. For people waking up, and if you look at it, the Rockies lost 21-0. To the Padres. Stephen Kolek, his second major league start, pitched a shutout. And the Rockies are 6-33, Bruce. It ties the Orioles for the worst 39 games in baseball history.
Yeah, you look at Bud Black, really one of the great guys in baseball. Terrific guy. We got to know him a little bit. And he's just so solid, and they're expressing faith in him. I mean, what do you do with that? You change the manager. That doesn't change anything. They know they've got a real good manager. Buddy Black's had a lot of success, but that club, my goodness, I mean, they're never really. You don't really ever really care about them. It's been years since you did. It's been years since Larry Walker and Bichette and those guys. But now they're just, you don't even know who the names are, and it's kind of sad.
They got a lot of injuries. Chris Bryant, who knows if he'll ever play. He had an ablation, which I'm familiar with. He had it in the back to cut some nerves because he's got the back pain. And then there's the shortstop is out. A couple of the relievers are out. So this is what your Buddy Black is dealing with. But Bruce, 6-33. I mean, we thought the White Sox were bad. I mean, they're just getting blasted, and it does affect the division. If you're in the division, you don't want to lose to the Rockies.
No, you can't afford to, and everybody's going to go in there, and they'll because they're the Rockies, and because they always do this, and they've done it to the Giants many times in the past. You go in there and you lose 10-8 in a heartbreaker. Balls flying all over the yard, and they're still capable of doing that when they get healthy. So there'll be some big surprises from them. They won't be part of what's really happening, but they're gonna shake it up for the teams that are.
Well, Arizona comes in next, and if you followed, as Bruce alluded to, this Arizona-Dodgers series, Friday night it was 14-11. Ohtani hit a 3-run homer, which was part of 6 runs that the Dodgers scored in the 9th inning to win the game 14-11. But both bullpens are just getting shredded. Now, Burns pitched well last night, and they only needed 2 innings from Nelson, but the Dodger bullpen is getting shredded. The Diamondback bullpen is a mess with the injuries, and now the Diamondbacks are coming in. Maybe this is a good time for the Giants.
Yeah, well, they missed Gallen. He goes against the Dodgers today, and he's coming off 2 dominant wins against the Mets. They missed Corbin Burns, who had his first really good outing last night of the season against the Dodgers, 7 shutout innings. So that's 2 big breaks. But the bullpen, you're right. I mean, if you just talk about that one category, the Giants have a huge edge over Arizona and the Dodgers, just as we look at them right now. I mean, the Dodgers don't have Trinan, they don't have Kopech, they don't have Phillips now. And the Giants with the Duvall coming back around, I'm not that worried about Randy Walker. His stuff looks good. Eric Miller, and all the way down. And Harrison, my goodness, he's throwing hard now. Great addition, lefty in the bullpen. So to me, there's really no contest in the bullpen category.
No, and it's a game of bullpens, and we'll see what happens today. As you say, Gallen and Gonsolin today, but Arizona's drawn 47,000 a game for the Dodgers. This division, I tell you, I haven't seen a division like this in years, where four teams are that good.
Yeah, and as this series comes up, I mean, the Diamondbacks they're really pretty relentless. I mean, Corbin Carroll, he's a force of nature. He's got 11 homers. He's leading the league in triples, and you get Marte and Naylor and Suarez hit 4 homers. Pavin Smith, Gurriel, Perdomo. It just doesn't end. These guys are all good hitters, and they're all playing well right now.
Yep, and they come in here for 3 after the Dodgers series, so we'll see what their bullpen looks like. That A.J. Puck is hurt, and Martinez. Their 2 big guys in the bullpen are hurt, and they don't have a closer. And so we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting series. If you followed it all up in Sacramento, the Yankees are there. It's so weird. It just feels weird to me. I don't know how to explain it. It's like they're not here, but they're in Sacramento, and Aaron Judge hit 2 yesterday, and the A's won. It just feels weird. It's like they're gone, and I don't know why. I just can't get into it.
No, not at all. One thing about being retired is you can kind of pick your spots. You don't have to know a whole lot about everybody. I try to really stay current, but I haven't paid any attention to the A's. I'm just so angry about that whole situation. They're becoming harder to ignore, though. I mean, they're right there in the race. Wilson's up there in the hit way over 300. Rooker and Langoliers and all these guys. Nick Kurtz is coming up, and they're playing pretty good ball. But you're right. I mean, I've been to that ballpark. I haven't been to see the A's, and I don't plan to. But it's like, was Judge really here? I guess he was. He hit 2 homers. Somebody named Dominguez hit 3. I don't even know who he is, but everyone who comes in there admits that this is not. No. How many people have said this is great? Nobody. It's not great. It's horrible.
No, it's like it's not happening. But you're right. Then the A's come in here this weekend, and they're going to bring a couple of lefties in, and the Giants have trouble with lefties. So, and you're right, they are hitting the ball. So we'll see what happens. But that's coming up this weekend. But it brings me to Aaron Judge. Bruce, I don't know. We've watched baseball together for decades. What he's doing is just he's the best in baseball, and he just does it every game, every year.
Yeah, the amazing thing now is that he's hitting around 400. He's slightly below that now, but I mean, my goodness, to have a guy once again looking at a 60-homer type season, I mean, even if he were to hit 370 or even 350, it's a real standout. Jason Stark of The Athletic made a case for him as the greatest right-hand hitter of all time, which if you measure the last 4 years, nobody can touch that. He's averaged 60 homers over per 162 games. I mean, his numbers are just on, but it's a little strong to call him the greatest of all time. I mean, we never thought he was anywhere near that. He was 25 before he had his big year in the bigs and the minor leagues for 4 years. I think he had 46 homers over 4 years in the minors. It's not like we're looking at Babe Ruth coming on here, and he has come on big. But if you're talking about Joe DiMaggio, Rogers Hornsby, and Aaron and Mays, no, let's not go there.
All right, 396. He's got 37 RBIs. He's leading the majors in that, and he's also got the 14 home runs. So it's interesting in the National League. The 300 hitters are starting to dwindle down a little bit. This Landon Donovan, St. Louis, 327. Machado, 326. Pete Alonso, Bruce, great year for him, 322. And Tatis, a good year for him, 322. So those are the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, and as far as the major leagues, you got, Jacob Wilson's hitting 358 for the A's and Judge 396. But last week there were 22 300 hitters. Now there's 18. It's dwindling. I think when it's all over, you're going to see Kwan and Machado and Bobby Witt, Tatis, Arias, Alex Bregman, Trey Turner, maybe Jung Hooley. I think all those guys are going to be over 300 at the end of the year, which is a great thing. But it is dwindling. The change-ups and sliders are getting tougher and tougher. We'll see, but it's a thin but interesting group.
Yeah, it is, but it will dwindle down. I'd like to say it's the quarter mark, the 40-game mark, and you start to see what's what. And the Cardinals, as they always do, somehow they've put it together. They've won 7 straight. They're back in this race. They're chasing the Cubs now. Maybe the Cardinals will have to be dealt with. And the Phillies and Braves, you just can't ever exclude the Braves. I don't care what they do. They're going to get people back. So we're starting to see that division, what that looks like with the Mets. The Cardinals are now in the picture. Then we get our 4 in the West. This is going to be a race of 7, 8, 9 teams for 6 spots.
Yeah, there's a real disparity now. I mean, we talk about the National League. We're running down all these clubs, and they all seem like they could do something. The Reds are only 3.5 out with the De La Cruz and those guys. And you get to the American League, the Yanks, they're only up by 2 over the Red Sox, but I don't think the Red Sox are Toronto or Tampa Bay or Cleveland or Kansas City or Seattle. All these teams, they're just not. To me, they're not major threats. The Yankees seem like the class of that league, but and Atlanta's a great example of what you're saying. They're only 5.5 back now. They're going to get Acuna and Strider eventually. They have Olsen and Ozuna. Some good young pitchers. They're the Braves. They're going to be there, and that's going to be a hell of a race because the Phillies aren't going anywhere. They're only a game and a half back, and I do love the Mets. My goodness, Soto and Alonso and Lindor, and they got Acuna's little brother, Luis Angel Acuna. They're a really fun team.
Yeah, and Alonso is just going wild. He's having just a great season. So we'll see. But the Giants, they're in it, but. I like when I look at the
line. They're in it.
I know. They're 24 wins, on a pace for 96. But it just this is going to be a good race, and I think we're in for a good story. So that's the basic part. A couple of crazy things about baseball. One, Devers says he won't play first base for the Red Sox. How about that?
Yeah, well, it started when, he's their third baseman, not a great one by any means, but he's their third baseman, a hell of a hitter, and they get Bregman, so right away you've got a problem. But, Devers has got to go, okay, cool, I'll move over to first or whatever, but he didn't want to do it. He started out like 0 for 100, and they finally moved him to DH, and he got hot. He got 4 hits last night, but now they've got Casas is out at first base, and they've got another kid that they would maybe want to put there because Devers doesn't want to play first. And I kind of get where he's coming from. Because everybody in the bigs wants to know where they stand, where they're playing. They don't want to be jerked around here and there. But he's making such a big stink about it that he doesn't come off well in this thing. I mean, just play where they put you at first base. How bad can it be to be the first baseman for the Red Sox? But then the next thing you know, they got him back at the DH. It's a little bit of a mess. They just don't need that sort of thing. It's what's been kind of a fun season for them.
No, and they're in it. Believe me, they're going to be right there. The Yankees aren't going to run away from anybody.
They're 2 games out.
Yeah. The Red Sox are in it. So he was 4 for 4 last night. So all right, great. Well, it's a good time of baseball because we got 40 games down and we're starting to see it, and that's what I like. That's what I like about it. So that's the point this morning. The National League is starting to take a little bit of shape for me. A historical note, I love this one. Ted Turner was upset with the Atlanta Braves and the way they were playing. He was the owner. He said, you know what? I'm going to manage. And the one thing I remember about that, when he became the manager, he was wearing brown shoes. He didn't have baseball shoes, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, this is one of the most flamboyant people that ever came into baseball ownership. He was a champion sailor. He won the America's Cup. He built a massive television empire from scratch. Incredibly successful guy. He was married to Jane Fonda. He's sitting down low there and loving life. He's got the Braves, but the Braves were struggling so badly that he fired Dave Bristol, who we know from the Giants, who had a couple of unfortunate years managing the Giants. And next thing you know, Ted Turner suiting up and managing the Braves against the Pirates. And Chub Feeney didn't like it. Chub Feeney was the National League president. But the next day, he said, well, no. We're reinstating Bristol. But Ted Turner, if you look up the Braves list of managers, you'll see Ted Turner managed one game. He was 0-1. He had Jeff Burrows and Cito Gaston in the lineup and Tom Paciorek, but they lost to the Pirates. Candelaria pitched, and Goose Gossage got the last out. Phil Niekro gave Ted Turner a great start. He went the distance, of course. But Ted's 0-1 lifetime.
I love it. It'd be like Larry Bear saying, I'm managing the Giants today. You know?
Larry, don't put the uni on, please.
All right. Well, good. Enjoy Mother's Day today for you and the family, and we'll talk next week.
Marty. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Bruce.
Take care.
That is the great Bruce Jenkins. All right. On this Mother's Day, the professor, Ron Wood, is coming up next right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hi, it's Marty Lurie reporting from River Islands, where Bay Area home buyers have been discovering the good life for the past 10 years. I don't think there's another location in the greater Bay Area that offers such a terrific combination of homes, lakes, parks, and schools. Not only is the natural setting magnificent, close to the San Joaquin River, but there are whole neighborhoods built around lakes with docks to let you go rowing or kayaking right from your backyard. There are baseball fields and soccer fields and fields just for sitting back and taking in the view. I like that. River Islands High School is brand new and beautiful, and the 3 K through 8th grade schools are among the highest scoring in the county. How about that? Del Webb, a specialist in 55-plus living, offers 3 model complexes in its own master planned community built within River Islands. More than ever, River Islands has it all, and it's all priced from $600,000 to over $1 million. Go to riverislands.com, see for yourself how you like it, how the good life is, and how it can be your life. That's riverislands.com. Hello again, Marty Lurie here to talk to you about my good friends at Georgie Brothers, the largest family-owned furniture store in the entire Bay Area. Right now, and good through May 26th, you can save hundreds of dollars on my favorite line of furniture, Stressless. You know, I own Stressless furniture in my home, and I can tell you it's the most comfortable place to sit in my house. Visit them at georgiebrothers.com. That's GIOR. KNBROS.com. Remember, tell them that Marty sent you.
Time now to go to Sunday school with the professor.
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you?
Giants coach Ron Wotus with Marty Lurie.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
On your home of Giants baseball.
Good answer. I like the way you think.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Brought to you by River Islands, one of the country's top-selling master plan communities just across the Altamont in Lathrop. Where else can you live on a lake next door to a park or walking distance to your kid's new school? With 10 new neighborhoods, River Islands is the one place you can't afford to miss.
All right, it's Dave Fleming. I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to every Giants mom out there, particularly my wife, Jess, who is having a heck of a year. Our twins are getting ready to go off to college. We got high school graduation. We got 8th grade graduation. It's a busy time for mom, so I'm thinking about you. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Raph, for going in the archives and coming up with that from Dave Fleming. Well, we bring in the professor, Ron Wotus. Well, how are you?
I'm great, Marty. Looking forward to today. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yeah, as I say, the mother washed the uniform and came to the games and stuff like that, and just about everyone had that common experience. But there's a lot of homes where there isn't a mother, and someone else has to step up, and I always like to acknowledge that.
You're exactly right. Yep, absolutely. And there's a lot of mentors in young people's lives, and like you said, sometimes if there's not a mom there, there's another family member or even a close friend. So kudos to everybody, and I hope they have a great day.
All right. Well, River Islands, and I did a new spot for River Islands this morning. Well, there are so many neighborhoods now. And, it just sort of dawned on me. I said, wow, you buy a home, you have choices. They're the schools, and it's really a community. I mean, it really is a community to be part of.
It's a very close community because, as you said, there's so much to do there on property with the trails and the sports facilities that they have. So it makes it really, really fun when you don't have to get in your car and drive to a park to go on a walk or take your kids to a facility to play. And that's one of the special things about River Islands. But you're exactly right about the choices. I think when you go look at homes and you're looking for a place to buy, there's not many places that have as many neighborhoods and choices that River Islands has right there close together.
Yeah, it really is special. It really is. And it dawned on me again this morning, just hearing the words and how much they have there. So I'm glad we could acknowledge it. You've spent a little time down in San Jose this week. Tell me, any good people down there, anyone you're seeing that's sort of jumping out at you?
Yeah. First of all, my old teammates, Dan Runzler and Travis Ishikawa, always jump out at you. They're doing a fine job down there, along with Edwin Villegas, the manager, and Nate Keevy, the first base coach, works with the catchers and the outfielders. It's fun to see those guys are working hard and doing a good job. But, getting to the players, they have some interesting guys. Obviously, they have the number 2 pick, Walker Martin, who is playing shortstop for them. He had a taste in San Jose last year. He hit 3 home runs the last 3 days. He hit one to opposite field, left field, and then he pulled one to right field. Had a really, really big 3 days and making hard contact, and his defense is coming along well. So he looked really, really good. They have some pitching down there. Ben Peterson came in last night. This guy throws 94 to 96 with a cutter curveball split. Good curveball. He's from North Carolina. He looked good. A couple lefties they have, if anybody wants to take a look at them. Greg Ferrone from Schenectady, New York, Marty. Went to the University of Alabama. Pitched well, and then they have another young kid who was in the Cobb trade, Jacob Breshnan. I think that's how you pronounce it. Young lefty, 92, 94, great frame, and looks like he could really add some velo as time goes on. There's a number of guys. I can't get to all of them, but those are a few people that I got to see play this past few days.
Yeah, glad to hear about Walker Martin. That's nice. Number 2 pick with some power. Righty or lefty, Wo?
He's a lefty. He's a left-handed hitter.
Yeah, good. They need that, too. Boy, so much going on in baseball. One, of course, they're in Minnesota at this new ballpark, and it reminded me there's balls being hit off the right field wall. I was thinking of the Baggy in the Metrodome. Remember that one? That was a crazy place. How about playing there?
It was a tough place to play. I mean, it was as loud as any park I've ever been in. I remember the Kingdome in Seattle got extremely loud as well, especially when they were good and Lou Piniella was running that thing, throwing bases all around the field and, getting on the umpires. Boy, that was entertaining. But the Metrodome, that Baggy in right field was very unique. And it was a fun place to play because of the energy and the noise and the crowd. I've only been there, I think it was for 2 series years ago, but I really enjoyed my time there.
Wow. Speaking of Lou Piniella, Rocco Baldelli did a little bit of a thing last night. He got into a big argument with the umpire and threw his hat. It was great. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, you don't see the arguments like you used to. I haven't had the opportunity to see the games like I'd like to because I've been on the field with the San Jose Giants the last few days, and, of course, they're playing. But I miss the entertainment from the managers, getting on the umpires. That was always very colorful and adds to the game. But with the video review and, the way it's done now, you don't get much of that. So we miss Lou Piniella and Billy Martin and the characters of the game.
Yeah, Rocco was good. He threw the hat. I mean, he did. He frisbeed it. It was cool. Yeah, that was good. I guess he got thrown out. It wasn't clear what he was even arguing about. I guess it was balls and strikes, but whatever. But it was a good show last night. Let's put it that way. Well, the Giants lose last night 2-1. A couple of little things within the game. Ramos was on third, tying run, 1 out, and Bailey up, and he got picked off third. And he explained it after the game, and Melvin did as well, that he was trying to get a good jump on the contact play with 1 out, and he just went a little bit too far. I'm sure you've been a third base coach. I'm sure that's something that you have to deal with.
Absolutely. That's the number one fear that you have with the base runners on a contact play is that they do get picked off because what you're trying to do is you're trying to beat the ground ball to home plate. So you have to get an outstanding jump. And, we'd like to tell the players is you want to shorten your lead because you can only go as far as the third baseman's there because if they run a pickoff play, you're going to be out, especially if the left-handed hitter. I'm assuming Bailey was hitting left-handed at the time. It's an easier throw for the catcher. He's got a clear lane. But probably what happened, he had too big of a lead, and what you want to do is you don't wait to see the ball hit. You anticipate the ball being on the ground on the swing, and you almost start your steps to home as the swing is going so you can get that great jump. And if you start with too big of a lead and get too far down there, you are dead meat, to say the least, because it's a clear shot for the catcher. And, you've seen that happen over the years once in a while with a good catcher. And so you got to be careful on that lead size.
Yeah, there's one other one that I saw last night. Well, it was a shortstop. Adames made the play, and he shoveled the ball to second. And I said to myself, when do you shovel it and when do you throw it to the second baseman? Because they couldn't turn the double play. And I thought, well, maybe the shovel slowed things down. In other words, the shovel is taking like a football pitch to a halfback or something.
Yeah, the underhand toss has always been something that I've tried to, pound into the infielders just in San Jose the past few days. When you give the underhand toss like that, a lot of guys will throw it too slow, and it costs you seconds with the runner. So what I try to tell them is every throw should be as crisp as possible. So whether you're going underhand or the normal sidearm feed, or you go in the hole towards third and you fire it, all those throws should be the same speed. One, so they get there very, very firm, so you're not losing time on the clock with the runner. And it's easier for the double play because the second baseman, if you have a firm feed, it's much easier than a soft feed. Players that are out there, when you get a real soft feed, it doesn't necessarily stick or transfer in your glove as easy if it's a little bit firmer. So, yeah, I mean, we're always on the guys to try to make that as crisp as possible. You know, he kind of got caught in between on that play, and his momentum, he didn't have any momentum going towards second, so it was harder for him to get the steam on the underhand feed that he wanted, and it probably cost them, you know, the opportunity to turn that double play.
Yeah, they're pretty good at turning them, but this one with that underhand toss, I thought slowed things down a little bit. But Yastrzemski, look at the throw to the plate, not to the plate, but the throw to second, and he's made some good throws to the plate. His arm is legit. I mean, he makes the plays in right field.
Yeah, he does, and it's great to see because there's not that many outfielders today that have an accurate arm, number one. There's guys with arm strength, but heck, the balls are going all over the place at some of these throws. I mean, not just, you know, a few feet offline, but, you know, 10 yards offline I've seen throws these years. And I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, outfielders not throwing the bases like they did years ago. I mean, shoot, we've talked about it, and other guests have talked about how often we used to take infield every day. Candlestick, you know, you're freezing your butt off. You take batting practice, you go in there, sit for 45 minutes, you come back out and take infield. You're freezing, you got loose again, and then you went back in the clubhouse and came back out to play the game half hour later. Seems crazy now that you had the players, you know, go out and work out and then rest and then get their arms hot again. And guys used to throw the ball in infield, Marty. They used to throw the heck out of it. You think about all the great arms, you know, Larry Walker, Vladimir Guerrero, even Puig had a good arm not that long ago, but it was a big part of the game. And, you know, outfielders just don't throw the bases like they used to. And they don't have to take infield, but a lot of outfield coaches will bring them out early and have them make throws, you know, just the outfield to home. But routinely, more than that, you see outfielders just kind of doing the touch tosses during BP. A guy has a fungal behind second, and he'll go around to left, center, and right, and they just make that touch throw to second. But very seldom are they throwing to third and throwing to home unless you get them out early. So I think that's a big part of it. But Yaz is outstanding. He's got a good arm, and he's got an extremely accurate arm, and that's what you need if you're going to throw people out, accuracy.
You know, the old cartoon of putting the kid in the outfield and he's picking daisies. You know, the outfielder has to keep a concentration on the game. And I realize all of a sudden something happens, ball's off the wall, and now, you know, you got to make a play. Where's the runner? Where's everyone going? You know, you have to be focused as an outfielder. It's different than being an infielder.
To your point, Marty, my first year in the big leagues, 1998, and we were at the stick, and I asked Stan Javier. I asked him what was the toughest thing for a veteran player to do. You know, I was trying to pick the veterans' brain. It was my first year in the big leagues, and wanted to know, you know, how they thought and what they thought was a difficult thing for them to do. And you know what he told me? He told me, you know, the hardest thing to do is when you played the game for 10 or 15 years is to focus in the moment, day after day, inning after inning, pitch after pitch. And you mentioned the outfield, right? I mean, in the infield, there's more chatter going on. You're talking to the pitcher, you're talking to your shortstops, you know, communicating with the second baseman or the third baseman, but you're standing out there by yourself. And whenever you see an outfielder make a mistake, I think a lot of times, you know, their mind drifts a little bit. Maybe they, you know, have some issues going on at home, or they're a little under the weather, or they're just fatigued, a night game, day game, and they're older. Whatever it is, when you lose that focus and concentration, that's usually when you make mistakes. I know as a third base coach, Flan and Matt Williams could tell you the same thing. If you don't go over every scenario, who's up, who's coming up, what to score, the outs, who's in the bullpen, you know, the whole situation. If you don't do that in every pitch, that's when you make mistakes. And I think the same thing happens to players a lot of the times when the focus just slips for a minute or two.
Well, this outfield defense is important because these games are tight. The team, they're in tight games, 2-1, 3-1, 3-1, coming back late in the game. Every moment counts with the Giants. And that's the way these, 2 runs or less and all those statistics. So I think outfield defense is very important. And I think Yastrzemski epitomizes it, really. Well, we had a good week. I appreciate you coming to my event on Wednesday night, being honored by the Italian American Bar Association. Well, I appreciate you being there.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have missed it for the world, Marty. It was a great event. It was great to see your old co-workers, all the lawyers and judges. There were some great speeches that night. And it really was a great event and quite an honor, Marty. Quite an honor you had there with a lot of your old friends and colleagues. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was nice to see your family as well. So congratulations again on being honored. What an honor it was to be there and watch you receive those accolades.
I appreciate it. And plus the mayor, the mayor's a good baseball fan. He was there, Mayor Daniel Lurie, and he worked you over. He has a lot of questions for you.
Well, you know what? That's the second time they had a chance to talk to him, and he's engaged, Marty. I mean, he's engaged with the Giants and what's going on in the city, and everywhere I go, people tell me he's doing a tremendous job, and I can see why. He's very personable and outgoing, and everybody likes the job he's doing. It was good to see him there as well.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to second guess you, do that, but no, he didn't. He was very polite. All right. Well, have a good day and enjoy Mother's Day with Laurie, and I know the family will be together, so enjoy your day today.
Thank you, Marty. You have a great day as well.
That is the professor, Ron Wotus, Glenn Kuiper, and Kerry Crowley next, right here in the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Just a quick note about the rooftop restaurant at the Via Hotel, the Hotel Via across the street from the park. They do a wide variety of events on the rooftop, from weddings and birthdays to corporate retreats and special events, holiday events, and any other special occasion you can think of. With stunning 360 views of the skyline, Bay Bridge, East Bay, and of course Oracle Park, the rooftop at Via is truly one of the most unique event venues in San Francisco.
Hey, Giants fans, this is Sandra G. Here's Bob Melvin.
Well, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially the baseball moms who have to go through so much during the course of the season, support their husbands, and their husbands tend to be a little bit of a load during the season, so it's all about the moms on a very, very special day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms, and wishing you a good game today, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you.
While Bob Melvin preps the men in orange and black, we'll prep you for today's ball game as our Giants warm-up continues on the Sports Leader.
All right, nice to have you back with us. Boy, I got a lot of emails and texts this morning. My daughter Bonnie got to hear everything. She's on her way to pick cherries in Brentwood. Okay, don't forget me. I got a beautiful text from our good friend Pecan, Raph, for Patrick, listening to the show and enjoying it. And I miss Pecan, and I had a lot of fun together. And also Rich Lieberman listening this morning, as he does with Loves the Bruce Jenkins segment. Well, Kerry Crowley, good morning. Glenn Kuiper, good morning. Kerry, how are you?
Oh, doing well, Marty. Love the Mother's Day tributes already. It's been fantastic. A great way to start the day. I was out walking our dog with my mom, Nancy, this morning. Just always a special day. I love these holidays during the sport of baseball. Mother's Day, Father's Day. We get Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day. It's always a great way to start the day when we get to do this show together.
Yeah, I love it. And it's early today. Believe me, I got to the bunker, believe it or not. Now, Glenn can appreciate this. I was here at 6:15 at the bunker, Glenn. So good morning. How are you?
Well, what is the bunker like at 6:15 a.m.? That's what I want to know.
It's very much like it is around 1 p.m. It never changes. It's basically just a bunch of stuff. As if you're looking on the stream, you can see me. But coming in the ballpark this morning, literally, I swear, I got here at probably 6 o'clock. And this is the first time I've been at the park that early. It was you know what it was like, not to get too crazy here, but it reminds me of how many people it takes to make this story happen. We're going to talk about Pablo Lopez and Landon Roop, and that's the top of the Sunday. But underneath everything, there's so many people and machinery and deliveries and security people. It's almost like NASA. And the game is just the rocket taking off, but everything that goes on underneath it. I just had that feeling about the ballpark this morning.
Yeah, you know what, Marty? It's funny. Last year, at the end of the year, my wife and I went to a Friday night game. In fact, I think it was the last series of the year. And then we stayed at the Villa. And you know all about the Villa. You stay there quite often, a wonderful hotel right across the street. And so we stayed there after the game. Then we were going to go to the day game on Saturday. And so we went up to the top and had a couple drinks in a nice bar up there. And we sat outside. It was a nice night. And we kind of watched the ballpark close up after a night game, but it didn't really close. There was still so much going on, even at midnight. People just scurrying around and cleaning, and this was just kind of the outside, and we could see inside, and how many people were working and who would be working through the night just to get ready for a day game the next day. And we were kind of amazed by that, how much action was going on, after the game and into the late hours. And then you realize that, well, that's what happens after every single game. So I kind of know what you're saying. We saw it from a late in the evening after a night game situation. And there's so much that goes on each and every game. And it is kind of amazing that everything gets pulled off for every game.
Kerry, I've said this to you many times, and we've talked about it on the show together. They give a party 81 times a year, like Glenn just said. They give a full party 81 times a year and have to clean up every day and get ready for the party the next day.
Yeah, it's so well said. I mean, that is exactly what goes on down at Oracle Park at China Basin. It's part of what makes the baseball season's so special is because, during the NFL season, you do 8 to 10 of those days a year. During the Warriors season, you get 41 dates a year. Baseball's a different beast. 81 times, and as Glenn just spoke to, so many times during the course of the season, you're turning around from a Tuesday night to a Wednesday day game or a Friday night to a Saturday day game. It's very difficult, and I just think it's a testament to the operation that's been built down at Oracle Park and all of the people who contribute, because there are so many folks who they start their day of work, as Glenn said, when the Giants game ends. So it's 10 o'clock, it's 11 o'clock at night. They're hitting the clock, they're punching in, and they're putting their 8 hours in to make sure the people coming to the ballpark the next day have a great experience. I know there's a lot of folks with the local SEIU, and of course some partial to the union folks who put in their great hours, and obviously it means so much to me to know that they've fought with one another and worked together for better benefits and better wages, and making sure that they can live a good life doing this, and that's really important to me and my family. And so I'm so glad that you talked about that a little bit, Marty.
Yeah, well, your dad was the best. FX Crowley, he led the charge. He was the best at doing that. But yeah, it's amazing to me to just be here. And Glenn, you mentioned the Via, because when I stay at the Via, which I do all the time when I come up here, they couldn't be nicer. I look out the window. There's always something going on at the park.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. And are you and my brother, you're not partying late into the night at the Via, are you?
Absolutely not.
All right. And keep an eye on you two guys.
Absolutely not. All right, but that's good things for today. And I think about Nancy Hayden Crowley and her feelings today, Kerry. So, I'm thinking of Mom today, too. Yeah. Buster Posey, 40 games in. He's got to sit down and start evaluating a little bit. I mean, look, they're 24-16. They're playing 600 ball. We know all the numbers and everything else, but I'm going to let you guys be Buster Posey having a meeting Monday morning. What are you talking about? And I'll start with Glenn. Well, what is Buster talking about Monday morning?
I'm going to say, listen, if you want to just look at the numbers, the pitching's been really good. Statistically, they have the third best ERA in the National League. I think the rotation is solidified some. Bullpen's been terrific. As we've talked many times, there's plenty of depth. There's depth at the big league level, and there's depth in the minor leagues as well. So at this point in the season, that to me is not an issue. So it all goes back to the offense, which, I think we all thought this could be something to keep an eye on even at the beginning of the year. And now as the season has gone on and 40 games in, and I'm going to kind of wait till the end of this upcoming homestand, which is 9 games, to kind of fully evaluate. But I don't know that that's going to change a whole lot. I do, listen, I think 2 things. How much can Encarnacion help? He's going to probably get a chance to play more first base than DH just because of the struggles of Lamont Wade Jr. Was what we saw from Encarnacion last year for real? We don't know. We think maybe it is. I mean, he's got good power. He's decent in the field. So there's some things there to like with him. But is he the answer to get them maybe to a little bit of a higher level offensively? We don't know that. But I think you have to see if he can be the answer to make you a better team offensively. That's putting a lot of pressure on a guy who hasn't played a lot in big leagues. But I think you need to find out that, and then realize that maybe we need to go get somebody, whether it's a first baseman or who knows. I mean, I don't know, maybe a second baseman. I don't know, but I would say let's see what this kid can do to help us. And then, after that, see what he's got, how much does he give you, and then you probably need to really start looking at going to get somebody if that next jump up offensively doesn't happen, because they're a little short offensively now. That would be my look at this team. I think they need another bat. We've got to see if he's the one that can do that.
Well, Kerry, they're home run wise, they're giving up the least home runs. Their ground ball rate is the best in the big leagues. And at the 40 game mark, it's the key for me. I can start seeing the league. Mm-hmm. I can see it, and the Cardinals all of a sudden are in the picture. and there are 9 teams for 6 spots. And I think the biggest thing for me is at this 40-game mark, I'm starting to see what a season could look like.
Yeah, this is the quarter poll. This is really the first evaluation mark that you give. You know, you look at the quarter poll, and then 3 weeks later, you look at Memorial Day. July 1st, you sit down and you prepare for the All-Star break, and then it's those key 10 to 14 days in between the All-Star break and the trade deadline when you really make that big picture determination as to whether, we can be something. That's the thought going through Buster Posey's mind. Can the Giants be something this year, and is it worth the investment? And then you get into August, and you make your preparations for rosters expanding. It's not quite like the days of the 40-man roster when you could call everyone up, but you really have to optimize the group that you're going to have, the pitching staff that you want in the month of September. And so I think that Glenn said it so well. There's going to be a lot of long-term planning going on if the Giants are going to sit down at the quarter poll and evaluate where they are right now and where they need to be. I think that obviously there's so many hopes pinned on Gerard Encarnacion, which is an interesting spot for this organization to be in because Encarnacion at the age of 26 last year, he had a 702 OPS, 1% worse than league average, and he, of course, had the great spring training, gave the Giants so much hope, but it speaks to the depth issues that they've had over at first base, with Lamont struggling, with Casey Schmidt out right now, with David Villar coming off the 40-man roster, back onto the 40-man roster, that Gerard Encarnacion is suddenly the big hope for this team. And so I think what the Giants will do during the month of May is try and get some of these hitters hot. Try and hope that Adames provides a spark. Get Jung-Hoo Lee back in the position that he was in the month of April when he was spraying the ball around the field. We've seen a little bit less of that. Lee 0 for his last 12 right now. And then start to think about how you can optimize your pitching staff for the months of July, August, and September, and which pitchers, realistically, you might part with to go get that bat that Glenn was talking about. Because the Giants have some great arms down in AAA Sacramento right now. There are a number of guys who I think are big league quality pitchers and could help a major league rotation or a major league bullpen. This lineup is lacking. So who do they make the determination on? Who do they say at the trade deadline, we can part with this player to go and get us someone who can benefit this lineup? And I don't look at it as first base, second base, shortstop, third base. I look at it as bring in the best available player at the trade deadline, bring in the best bat, and then sort out the rest of the roster elsewhere. If that means bringing in a left fielder, maybe Ramos becomes your DH. If that means bringing in a second baseman, maybe it means Fitzgerald is your super utility player. I just look at it as when you get to that trade deadline 2 months from now, you want to be in the best possible position to upgrade your roster and make a postseason push, because that's what Giants fans deserve, Marty.
Yeah, I think the big thing is they need a hitter, and we've said this in spring training. And Encarnacion, he can run into a few, but I think Glenn said it very well. There's a lot of pressure being put on him because he is going to get the first shot. Glenn, what do you think about the game today? Number one, what do you think about the Twins, Pablo Lopez, and that ballpark, and just the Twins ball club?
Well, you know what? I think there's this baseball saying that I always felt was really accurate. It's not always who you're playing, but it's how they're playing. Mm-hmm. And you're just catching the Minnesota Twins at the wrong time. They've won 7 in a row. You can watch them play, and everything's going right. They're getting a big hit. The pitching's been great. I mean, that's in that 7-game winning streak, guys. They've allowed a total of 14 runs, so they're getting great pitching. They have some talent. I don't think they're a juggernaut team, but they're just playing good baseball right now, and it just so happens that the Giants are catching them at that time. So that's just the way it is. You're going to run into teams that may be less than 500 as the season goes on, but they may be really hot, and all of a sudden they're a tough team. And the Twins have some talent, playing well right now, so not surprised that the Giants have sort of had their hands full, with what's going on. And Pablo Lopez, you look at his starts this year, he really hasn't had a bad start. His ERA is 2.18. He's good. He's good. And those first 2 guys that we saw, throwing strikes and really not a lot of hard contact by the Giants. I think that's what's has been a little bit disappointing. Those guys just pumping strikes in there, getting ahead in the count, and then just soft contact from the Giants. So it's been disappointing, certainly. But again, as Kerry said, you got guys struggling. Yaz is struggling. Adames is struggling. Lee is struggling. Not long struggling. Not like 3 months worth of, or 3 weeks worth of tough games. But the last week or so, they're just they're cooling off right now. So it's not going to be easy today because Pablo Lopez is really good. And as far as the ballpark goes, Target Field may be my favorite ballpark to go to. Just the whole deal. The hotel we used to stay at was right next to the ballpark. It was a 3-minute walk into the ballpark, which is always great if you can walk to the park. The press box is great. The broadcast booth is great. It's a good atmosphere. It's a pretty ballpark. So it's really one of my favorites. If you guys have never been there, you should definitely check it out because it's a pretty cool place.
Kara, what do you think about Roop today? Harrison really threw great his last 2 times out. Birdsong we've talked about every week. And here comes Landon Roop. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a really big start for Landon Roop for a number of reasons. You mentioned Harrison, and he's opened some eyes this week. I think that the Giants came into spring training probably 2-3 weeks before spring training and thought Kyle Harrison is the odds-on favorite to be the 5th starter for this team based on his track record in the major leagues, based on what he'd accomplished. He was a little bit ahead of Landon Roop and Hayden Birdsong, and then he gets sick right before spring training. It sets him back. He's not built up, and Bob Melvin admits at the end, he was never really in the competition because of that. But from what we saw on Tuesday night and Friday night, the fastball's different. The velocity is back. It looks like he's got the extension on that pitch. The slurve looks a little bit more in control than it's been, and so I think right now Harrison has 2 pitches that might be ahead of Landon Roop's best 2 pitches right now, Marty. And I think that's been the challenge for Landon Roop is we know the curveball is as good as it gets in Major League Baseball. It is such a good curveball. It gets swings and misses. It gets the front knee buckling for right-handed hitters. It's really difficult. The challenge for Roop is the cutter, the changeup, the sinker, they're not plus pitches yet. And so he's really a one-pitch guy trying to keep hitters off balance with the other 3, but none of those pitches are all that effective right now. Hitters hitting over 275 against each of those 3 other offerings outside of the curveball. And then, of course, the wild card in this whole equation is Hayden Birdsong because he's a 4-pitch guy. And I think all 4 of those pitches at any point of his major league career down the line can be plus pitches. The fastball can go 97, 98. The curveball he's willing to throw in 3 and 2 counts. The slider and the changeup can be very effective. By the end of this season, Hayden Birdsong will be in the Giants rotation. I think that he has the best stuff of any pitcher not named Logan Webb on this Giants roster. So how long do they stick with Roop? I think that he needs to be able to show that he can throw an effective second pitch off of that curveball. I think that the sinker is probably the best bet for Landon Roop right now with the action that it gets, running away from left-handed hitters. It's just a different pitch from that curveball. So we will see. We will see what Roop can give the Giants, but there's never been a tougher matchup this season for Roop than there is today. And Pablo Lopez, Glenn broke it down extremely well. This guy has not had a bad start this year. 11 strikeouts his last time out against the Baltimore Orioles. Lopez is good. The FIP, fielding independent pitching, even better than the ERA right now, which is 2.18. I think the FIP down at 2.12. So if Landon Roop is able to win today, I think he buys himself a few more starts in this Giants rotation.
Now I'm concerned about his FIP. Are you sure?
I knew you would be.
Are you sure? That's the FIP?
The FIP. I know that you're a big analytics guy, Marty. So the FIP.
I like some analytics. I just don't know what FIP is.
Fielding independent pitching, pitcher's talent and ability to get outs without relying on their fielders. So, how many strikeouts are you recording? What's your strikeout to walk ratio? Are you keeping the ball in the ballpark? Not allowing home runs. Logan Webb, he's a good FIP guy this year.
All right. Satchel Paige was a good FIP guy.
Yeah, we all remember that.
He told his fielders to sit down. and how about the king in his court, Glenn, right? Eddie Feiner?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, Eddie Feiner. What did he have? A catcher, a first baseman, and a shortstop? Was that right, I think?
Yeah, softball pitcher. Glenn knows him. I'm sure Glenn's dad played against Eddie Feiner.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely. Eddie Feiner. Look him up.
I will.
All right. I'm going to look for the FIP. That's going to be the key for me. All right,
yeah, so Logan Webb, I'll tell you this right now. Logan Webb, a 2.00 FIP. That's about as good as it gets, Marty. So that tells you that he will be in Cy Young consideration if he keeps that up over the course of this season. Landon Roop, his FIP this season, that's a little more concerning, a 3.95. So that suggests that he's been better than his 4.89 would indicate, but there's still room to improve there.
All right. Well, last question for you guys. It's nice to talk to you on Sunday morning. It's early. I've been up since about 4:30, so I'm a little wired already. the division. What do you think about the division? This Dodger-Arizona series is just wild. What's going on down there in Arizona? 47,000 a game, and the bullpens are getting chewed up. San Diego wins 21-0 over Colorado, and here come the Giants, 2-1, 3-1, no walks, 17 strikeouts in a couple of games. So give me some division, some thoughts.
I mean, listen, we've gone over this before. I'm looking forward to this season going on just to see what happens in this National League West, because there's no question that all four of these teams minus the Rockies are for real. I think they're all four playoff contenders. I think we can definitely all agree on that. Now, who's better, who's worse, who's got enough, who doesn't have enough, that's going to be determined, as we move forward and get to the trade deadline and that. But it's a terrific division. The Padres are the real deal. I mean, there's no question. We know the Dodgers, and they're going to get healthy. And the Padres are getting healthy now, getting some of their hitters back. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Diamondbacks. Right, guys? We'll see them, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the ballpark. Corbin Burns is starting to pitch better. That's a huge deal for them. Their bullpen's a little beat up, but they'll get those guys back. But the Diamondbacks, they hit home runs. They score a ton of runs. They catch everything. They run around. They're athletic. So you cannot count them out at all, whatever the record may be at this point in the season. So you could – listen, would any of us be surprised if the three wild card teams in the National League came from the National League West? I mean, that's not crazy. That's not crazy at all. I know the Phillies and the Mets, that's a strong – what's going to happen in the Central, we don't know. But man, it's going to be a dogfight in this National League West. And, the thing, too, guys, is you can't fall behind much because they'll run right past you, right? You can't fall behind the Padres and the Dodgers a lot because I just think it'd be very difficult to catch those two teams. There's just too much talent there. And, that's what the Giants said. Just stay with the group. Stay with the group and continue to play, continue to pitch and keep an eye out how they can improve that offense. But just don't fall behind the Padres and the Dodgers too much. I think then you're going to be in trouble as far as kind of staying with the pack.
Yeah, I think Glenn's right on there. I really agree with the assessment that the three wildcard teams could be coming out of the National League West this year. And you look at what the Diamondbacks have done this weekend. The Giants are fortunate that Corbin Burns threw last night. It means that they're going to miss him over the course of the next week when the Diamondbacks come to Oracle Park for a big 3-game set, their first look at them. To me, the most interesting part of this division is you look at the money that the Dodgers spent over the course of the last two off seasons, and you look at the state of that roster. They're still not going to run away with the National League West, and that speaks to the depth of this division. It speaks to the talent on the Padres, the group that the Giants have put together, and the competitive nature of a Bob Melvin-managed club, and the speed and athleticism that Glenn just mentioned about the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's caused fits for the Dodgers so far this week. I mean, it's a 4-game set. The Diamondbacks took Game 1. They very nearly took Game 2, and they won going away last night because Corbin Burns threw 7 innings of shutout ball. It's a very impressive team. I don't think they're close to hitting their stride just yet, and so it says to me that the Giants cannot afford a long losing streak. The 2-game stretch that they've lost here in Minnesota, it's got to come to an end today. It puts a premium on every start made by someone not named Logan Webb or Justin Verlander or Robbie Ray. So Jordan Hicks and Landon Roop have got to show up. And later on in the season, if the Giants change out guys in the rotation, it's going to be on those pitchers who ultimately come in and step up to make sure that the Giants are competitive in every single game, because this National League West fight, we're going to start talking about it a lot more on Memorial Day, but it's going to go down to the wire in this division. I think that's part of what makes 162 in the Mosaic so fun, Marty.
Well, I don't think all of them are getting in. I think this division is going to chew each other up, and that's what's going to happen. They're so good. There's 46 more games to go in the division for the Giants, and that's going to be the problem. This division is going to chew each other up, and they're going to give them losses, and someone's going to sneak in. The Phillies will sneak in. Who knows? The Cardinals could end up with 88 wins, but this division is wild, and I just don't think all four are getting in. So I have to disagree with you, Kerry.
Oh, well, it wouldn't be a Sunday morning if you weren't disagreeing with me. So you're generally right, but today I think I'm right.
I don't know. The division's fabulous. That's my point. And I think they're going to chew each other up. And that's, you just have to hold your own in the division. I think that's what Glenn is saying. But all right. Well, that's Mother's Day. Guys, have a good day today. Care. The Giants warm-up is coming up. So I'll talk to you next week. Glenn, I'll see you at the ballpark.
All right. We'll see you guys.
All right. That is Glenn Kuiper. Kerry Crowley coming up next with our Giants warm-up. Have a good morning, Kerr.
All right. Thank you so much, Marty. He is Marty Lurie. That was Talking Baseball. Glenn Kuiper, always appreciate his contributions. Ron Wotus, Bruce Jenkins, the whole crew this morning for Marty Lurie. Up next, it's Giants warm-up. We're getting you set for Giants baseball on the radio this morning here on KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
2-1 pitch. Swing of the high drive into right field. Way back there, still going. Goodbye! Into the bleachers. A 2-run homer for Jung-Hoo Lee. Makes it 4-0 Giants.
It's almost time for hot dogs, peanuts, cold beers, and orange and black baseball. Our Giants warm-up rolls on the sports leader.
All right, that was our home run of the week. Jung-Hoo Lee launching one. Sponsored by Pacific Catch, the Bay's favorite seafood destination. The Giants could use a couple more home runs today in their series finale against the Minnesota Twins. They've dug themselves into quite a hole, of course, losing 3-1 on Friday against Minnesota and then 2-1 on Saturday in disappointing fashion. Logan Webb really spun a gem. He was outstanding, I thought, against the Minnesota Twins. Now leads the National League with 55 and a third innings pitched on the season. The fielding independent pitching total, 2.00, below his ERA of 2.60 on the season. Webb has been outstanding, going to be in National League Cy Young consideration yet again this year if he keeps it up. But the Giants lineup has left quite a bit to be desired this weekend. The only hitter who could get anything going for the Giants on Saturday against Minnesota Twins right-hander Joe Ryan, a Bay Area native, was Elliot Ramos. And Ramos had the play of the day in the exact fashion you don't want to have the play of the day. Eighth inning, Ramos leads off the frame with a double. He ends up advancing over to third base on the deep fly ball from Lamont Wade Jr. And then with one out, he's picked off of third base, back-picked by the catcher, Christian Vasquez. And look, I give the Minnesota Twins a lot of credit. This is scouting. This is understanding the situation. This is Christian Vasquez having a rocket arm and Royce Lewis fielding his position extremely well over at third base. But under no circumstances, if you're Elliot Ramos, can you get picked off there? It just cannot happen. It is the definition of bad baseball. And the Giants aren't in Saturday's game if not for Elliot Ramos. They're not in that position if not for his home run that had pulled them, of course, within a run of Minnesota. But you can't get picked off. It's as simple as that. It's a base running error that you can't have happen at the college level, at the high school level, and really you teach those things in middle school. And like I said, you're not getting backpicked at third base at those levels. That was an elite major league play from a catcher in Christian Vasquez who understood the situation, and it was Royce Lewis making a heck of a tag on that throw to swipe at Ramos and make sure that he got that tag in time. But nevertheless, changes the outcome, changes the way that game unfolds in the late innings. All the Giants needed was a ball to be put into play. Ramos would have had a chance to score the game-tying run, and instead, they lose 2-1. And so in back-to-back games, the Giants have scored just one run. The Twins are now on a 7-game win streak. They've caught Minnesota at the worst possible time, and they head into today's series finale with the fifth pitcher in the Giants rotation, in Landon Roop, up against the best pitcher in the Minnesota Twins rotation in Pablo Lopez. And look, you see this all the time in Major League Baseball. After the first 2 weeks of the regular season, because of off days, because of teams using six-man rotations or teams doing different things with their starting staffs, you're going to see mismatches. You're not going to see Logan Webb up against Pablo Lopez or Logan Webb up against Hunter Green every time out. The Giants are just going to have days where their fifth starter faces another team's ace or number 2 starter. But you don't want those days to fall on the games that are must-win. And look, there are no must-win games in the month of May in Major League Baseball. But you look at the National League West right now, which we just had a long discussion with on Talkin Baseball with Marty, Lurie, and Glenn Kuiper, and it's going to be a dogfight to the very end. We're at the quarter pole today, 40 games in, and the Giants are 24-16. It's far better than we would have anticipated. Every Giants fan would take 24-16 at this juncture. I would have told you, 22-18 would have been a solid mark for the Giants to begin the Buster Posey era. But 25% of the way through the season, and we are quickly learning the Dodgers are a beast. We knew that would be the case. The Padres are better than expected. It's going to make the National League West more difficult. The Diamondbacks look to me like they're going to start hitting their stride soon. The Giants get them at Oracle Park this week. So there's no rest for the weary. The Giants can't take days off. There can't be games where you go into a matchup thinking, we may not have our best today. This may not be our best chance to win. Like you look at when you see a pitching matchup of Landon Roop against Pablo Lopez, the veteran who came over from Miami Marlins in a trade a few years ago that sent Luis Arias down to Miami. Pablo Lopez is really good. Landon Roop is going to have his hands full against a Minnesota lineup that, look, it doesn't score a whole lot, but I do think there's some pop here. We saw it yesterday. Trevor Larnach showed some of it We've seen Byron Buxton, Carlos Correa pop off at different points in their careers. Royce Lewis, of course, has all the power in the world. Willie Castro hit a ball high off the left field wall. Ty France is someone who's given the Giants fit through the years. This is a Minnesota team that all of a sudden is dangerous. The Twins got off to a rough start this season. They were very bad in the month of April. But here comes Minnesota in an American League Central that, while not with the top-end talent of the National League West, is going to be every bit as competitive as the National League West this year. And the Twins aren't going to go down without a fight. It's the Tigers atop the division, the Guardians charging hard, the Royals have been great over the last 3 weeks. Minnesota wants its hat in the ring there. And the Twins so far against the Giants proving that they can be a very tough ball club. So it's Landon Root today, 2-3, 4.89 ERA against Pablo Lopez, 3-2, 2.18 ERA. On the other side, we'll break down the games that took place across Major League Baseball on Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. We'll give you the lineups today. I am Kerry Crowley. This show is Giants Warm-Up. We are rolling with you until first pitch at 11:10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1:10 local time out at Target Field in Minnesota. Series finale coming your way on KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
Now back to the show built for the orange and black family. This is Giants Warm Up on KNBR, the sports leader.
We are back here on Giants Warm Up. Good morning to everyone just joining us, getting you set for Giants baseball. Coming your way, 11:10 Pacific Time, 1:10 local time in Minneapolis, where the Giants will try to salvage this series finale against the Minnesota Twins. The Giants lose 3-1 on Friday night and 2-1 in a tough defeat on Saturday. Elliot Ramos got to third base, represented the tying run in the 8th inning on Saturday evening, but was picked off a back pick from catcher Christian Vasquez. Royce Lewis applies the tag over at third base, and there goes the Giants' scoring threat. The irony, Giants wouldn't have been in that ball game without Elliot Ramos, who hit the home run off of the Minnesota Twins early in that game. Joe Ryan, the starter for Minnesota, he was so good. He's been outstanding in his career. He was a Giants fan growing up, went to Drake High School over in Marin, was drafted by the Giants, 39th round pick in the 2014 Major League Baseball draft, same draft in which the Giants took Logan Webb, 4th round, out of Brooklyn. Ultimately didn't sign, went and played college ball at Cal State Northridge, transferred to Stanislaus State, and then became a 7th round draft pick of the Minnesota Twins back in 2019. And since then, he's ascended. He has become one of the Twins' most reliable pitchers, a quality Major League starter, and someone who I think down the road, he hits free agency. Maybe if you're Buster Posey, you think about bringing him home. I mean, he's someone who grew up rooting for the Giants. I think he would love to pitch at Oracle Park. His style certainly looks like it would play at Oracle Park. He throws a lot of top rail fastballs in the strike zone, and kind of have to pitch in a pitcher's park to be able to do that, to throw those top rail fastballs. And so I think down the line, keep your eye out. Joe Ryan, future San Francisco Giant. I'd like to see that happen. But nevertheless, a difficult loss for the Giants on Saturday. They fall to 24-16 on the season, a quarter of the way through this Major League Baseball season. We'll talk about that a lot more during today's Giants warm-up show. Grade each position group kind of a quarter of the way through. We'll look at the starting rotation, the bullpen, the catching position, the infield, the outfield. We'll do it all here on Giants warm-up, and I'd love to hear from you as well. 415-808-KNBR. Would love to get your thoughts on Giants baseball as they head into this series finale against the Minnesota Twins. So one thing that I wanted to do here on Mother's Day on Sunday morning is take a quick look around Major League Baseball at some of the scores that took place around Major League Baseball on Saturday afternoon. Let's head out to Pittsburgh and look at what transpired at PNC Park, where the Atlanta Braves won 3-2 in 11 innings over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Scott Blewett ultimately takes the win in that one. The Pirates, of course, earlier this week, fired manager Derek Shelton. Don Kelly has taken over in Pittsburgh. They came back. They rallied late to tie that ball game, but the Braves ended up winning it. 3 runs on 5 hits. The Pirates just 2 runs on 9 hits. And something that I noticed, I'll talk about this later on in the show, Joey Bart, former Giants first-round draft pick, of course, taken number 2 overall in 2018. He's been hitting cleanup for a lot of this season for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's been one of the better catchers offensively in Major League Baseball. Giants give up on Joey Bart too soon? I think it's a question that might need to be asked, given the offensive numbers that he posted last season. Then this season, he's really been the better half of the Pirates catching tandem and one of the better catchers in Major League Baseball from an offensive production standpoint. So the Pirates 13-27, just completely irrelevant in that National League Central, and irrelevant as they've often been for the last 2 decades. But nevertheless, Joey Bart, he's a name to watch this season. Final in our nation's capital on Saturday, where the St. Louis Cardinals defeated the Washington Nationals 4-2. Andre Pallante got the win in that ball game. Win number 3 for Pallante. I like his pitch mix, 3-2, 4.36 ERA. The veteran Trevor Williams takes the loss for the Nationals. 2-4 with a 5.88 ERA right now, as Ryan Helsley, the hard-throwing closer for St. Louis, picked up save number 7, and Marty Lurie mentioned this earlier this morning. St. Louis starting to get hot. They could very well become a fixture in this National League wildcard race. They're one of the 9 teams competing for 6 playoff spots in the National League this year. And, there are teams like the Nationals, the Pirates, who really aren't part of the mix. The Cardinals absolutely are right now. Even after saying that they would take a step back this offseason, I think there's just a lot of talent in that organization. And Lars Nootbaar had a big double that drove home 2 runs yesterday. He's a player that I really like. I think that Sonny Gray's been really good at the front of that rotation for St. Louis. Some nice pieces in the bullpen bullpen, of course, capped off by Ryan Helsley at the back end. Cardinals are a team that could give teams like the Giants some trouble. They're just not one that can go away easily. They don't have a very clear weakness. I think that is their overall strength. There's nothing that they do particularly well, but there's nothing that they do particularly poorly. You can't expose the Cardinals over the course of a 3-game series. So, moving on, other scores around the game. The A's came back in a big way and won on Saturday in Sacramento over the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge hit 2 home runs early in that ball game, but the A's came flying back. Luis Arias hit a big home run. They won 11-7 over the Yankees. 14 hits pounded out by the A's. We've had a tough go of it playing at Sutter Health Park. They're only 8-12 at home. John Shea of the San Francisco Standard wrote a great story on Saturday morning about kind of the A's feelings about playing at Sutter Health Park. Some interesting quotes from their top free agent signing, Luis Severino, about the challenges of playing in a minor league ballpark and how it's just different, how pitchers are affected by that. So I'd encourage everyone to go out and read the San Francisco Standard, read John Shea on the A's in Sacramento. Meanwhile, it was Mason Miller picking up save number 11 in that ball game. So in 21 wins for the A's this season, Miller, 11 saves. He's one of the most fascinating pitchers in all of baseball, in my opinion. Here's why. The guy throws 102, 103. He is, right now, the hardest thrower in Major League Baseball. Aroldis Chapman can still run it up there. 37-year-old closer for the Boston Red Sox. We all know Chapman's name. But Miller is the most consistent closer when it comes to velocity. And he gets a ton of swings and misses. The strikeout rate is incredibly high. But when guys make contact against Mason Miller, the ball goes flying. He doesn't give up weak contact. It's not a bunch of singles like Tyler Rogers when he comes into the game throwing 83 from the submarine angle. When Mason Miller comes in, guys hit ropes if they make contact. Now, the challenge, of course, against a pitcher like him is making contact. 11 saves, pretty good number right now for the A's closer. Tampa Bay Rays won 3-2 on Saturday over the Milwaukee Brewers in a matchup of teams that are under 500 right now. The Rays at 18-21 playing their home games this season at George Steinbrenner Field, spring training home of the New York Yankees. Of course, it's going to be a challenging season, I think, for the Tampa Bay Rays. They don't have the same quality of depth that they typically do. I think it's more of a rebuilding year for Tampa, but yet they pick up the 3-2 win over the Milwaukee Brewers, who are now sitting at 19-21. Brewers have been awful on the road this year, 7-14 away from American Family Field in Milwaukee, including 3 losses in San Francisco in a 4-game set against the Giants. I thought the Brewers actually played relatively well. The Giants didn't do anything particularly great during that series, but the Giants just found ways to win. The Brewers coughed up games. Remember, there was the line drive from Willie Adames' bat that Christian Yelich dropped out in left field. It would have been a sacrifice fly anyway, but nevertheless, a bad look for the Brewers in that one. Peter Fairbanks got the win for Tampa Bay. He's now 3-1 with a 1.65 ERA. Out of the Rays bullpen. The Phillies won 7-1 over the Cleveland Guardians yesterday. Both of those teams following that game now with a 23-16 record. The Phillies, a force in that National League East. They're going to be contending with the Mets for that National League East crown. The Guardians have fought their way back into the AL Central. The Tigers leading that division, but the Guardians at 23-16, managed by forever Giant and, of course, former Oakland A, Stephen Vogt. They're a fun team to watch, and Bryce Harper got the win yesterday, or Bryce Harper contributed to the win yesterday. He had a big 421-foot home run for Philadelphia. Ranger Suarez was outstanding in his second outing back from the injured list. He lasted something like just 3 innings, giving up 7 runs in his first start back of the season, but Suarez really shut down that Cleveland lineup. Tanner Beebe struggled in the loss for Cleveland, 3-3 with a 3.80 ERA now on the year for the Guardians right-hander. A few more scores to tell you about. The Texas Rangers Bruce Bochy's squad picked up a big 10-3 win over the Detroit Tigers. The Rangers took it to Jack Flaherty early. They put a 3-spot on the board in the first inning. Jacob deGrom improves to 3-1, 2.72 ERA. Flaherty, meanwhile, he falls to 1-5 with a 4.61 ERA. He was the marquee acquisition in free agency for the Tigers this offseason. We're still 26-14, still in first place in that AL Central, still a force to be reckoned with, and 14-4 at home. But of their 14 losses, Jack Flaherty's been credited with 5 of them. It's really remarkable how he was the one stabilizing force the Tigers expected to have this year, and yet it's been everyone but Jack Flaherty really contributing to those 26 wins. Jacob deGrom, 3-1, 2.72 ERA. What a bounce back for deGrom, who I think a lot of people had written off. The velocity is nowhere near what it was. This is just someone who understands how to pitch. I mean, when we saw deGrom at his peak, the Cy Young peak that he was able to have, You're talking about someone who's thrown 100 to 102 out of the starting rotation. Sick movement. The slider was devastating. It was 92, 93. Throw the changeup as well. But he's had to dial it back significantly, considering the injuries that he's dealt with, the shoulder, the elbow. I mean, just about everything with Jacob deGrom broke down. And there was a question as to whether he could ever be an effective pitcher in the major leagues again. And yet, through the first month plus of this season, I know that he hasn't been in the Rangers rotation the entire time. But he's 3-1 with a very respectable 2.72 ERA. He's a different pitcher. It's 95 to 96, 97 right now. But you consider the movement that he gets on his pitches. The slider can still be an out pitch. He's really good in that Rangers rotation. I think that Texas at 19 and 21 right now, they're a team to watch in the American League West. I don't think that division is as strong as some others in Major League Baseball. The Rangers might be able to beat up on some competition in their own division. So wouldn't rule out Bruce Bochy's team just yet, even if the Mariners have been really hot to start the season. We know that the Astros are always a force, and the A's have been better than expected so far. The Red Sox took care of business against the Royals on Saturday afternoon, a big 10-1 win over the Kansas City Royals. It was Garrett Crochet who improves to 4-2 with a 1.93 ERA. Crochet now leading Major League Baseball with 56 innings pitched, barely edging out Logan Webb in that category. We'll see if Crochet can keep up. This is someone who I think has only thrown like a career high of 150, 160. We know that Logan Webb can ramp it up to 200 over the course of 162. But Crochet, it's hard to argue with the results so far since the Red Sox traded for him this offseason. A 1.93 ERA through his first 9 outings. And Cole Reagans takes the loss for Kansas City. The Royals have been a really good story over the last few weeks. They got out to a rough start. They were bumbling and stumbling the month of April, but then they really picked it up during the second half of that month and through the first 10 or so days of the month of May. They're 24 and 17 right now, but Reagans, the left-hander who can throw 98 to 100 out of the rotation, 2-2 with a 4.20 ERA. Would anticipate him to make some strides, lower that ERA, but nevertheless, it's hard to envision the Royals going as far as they want to without Reagans being kind of the centerpiece leading that staff. Wild one in Houston yesterday where the Reds defeated the Astros 13-9. The Reds improved to 20 and 21 on the season. The Astros 19 and 19 fall back to 500 after that loss. It was Graham Ashcraft, who I love out of that Reds bullpen. I think that he's got outstanding stuff. He picked up the win in that ballgame. Lance McCullers Jr. made his season debut. And it was rough. It was a 10-run first inning for the Cincinnati Reds in that ballgame. The Astros tried to make it interesting with a comeback late, but McCullers just could not get the job done. 0-1 now as his season debut did not go according to plan. 15.75 ERA. I'm not going to put much stock in the ERA for a pitcher making his first start. Really, the big storyline coming out of this game was McCullers said post-game he received some very, very upsetting comments about his family members, about his children. And that's just something that we don't need around Major League Baseball. I know that sports betting has transformed the way that casual observers see the game. They feel liberated to send players messages on social media, and it's absolutely not right. I don't think any fan should be contacting a player with regard to the bets that they're making, should be contacting a player with making threats to their family. It's just low class if you're doing that, and it's very unfortunate that Lance McCullers fought all the way back from the devastating injuries that he had to deal with, got himself in position to start a Major League game. It doesn't go his way, and he's receiving those kinds of messages. So wishing the best to Lance McCullers and his family, and hoping that nothing comes of those messages that were sent his way, and hoping that the people who did send those will somehow be reprimanded. I don't know how we hold people accountable in the 21st century with things like social media and anonymity, but nevertheless, you never, ever want to see that happen. So that was my takeaway from the 13-9 Reds victory over the Houston Astros on Saturday. A few more scores to tell you about. The Miami Marlins won 3-1 over the Chicago White Sox. Fouch for the win, and Tinoco got the save in that one. Eric Wagaman had a go-ahead triple for the Marlins, who are now 15 and 23. The White Sox sitting at 11 and 29. Believe it or not, Chicago White Sox, 18 games under 500, still 5 more wins than the Colorado Rockies this season. I just can't even fathom how bad the Rockies are. We'll get to that score in just a moment. But first, Chicago Cubs 6-5 winners over the New York Mets. The Cubs now 6 games over 500 at 23 and 17. Dansby Swanson hit his 8th home run of the year. The Mets fall back to 10 games over 500. McGill takes the loss in that one for New York. Cade Horton gets the win for the Chicago Cubs, who are dealing with a few issues in their rotation. Of course, Shota Imanaga, I believe, placed on the injured list, so Cubs having to make do with what they've got right now, and they're still 13 and 8 on the road. They've actually been a better road team than they have at Wrigley Field. That road record includes the 2 games that they lost at the beginning of the year in Japan against the Dodgers. So since those 2 losses, they've gone 13-6 away from Wrigley Field. I love that Cubs offense. And Dansby Swanson, who's hitting in the bottom third of that order, still 8 home runs this season. Yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with. So talked a few moments ago about the Colorado Rockies. Well, in one of the more embarrassing score lines in Major League Baseball, really, I can't imagine, in just the last 5-10 years, maybe in the last few decades, the Padres beat the Rockies 21-0 at Coors Field on Saturday. San Diego, 5 home runs. Kolek the win. Bradley Blaylock takes the loss. The Giants saw him a few weeks ago at Oracle Park. The Rockies fall to 6-33. They're 4-16 at Coors Field. They have just 5 hits in a 21-0 beatdown at the hands of the San Diego Padres. And get this, the Rockies are tanking. They're not a team that's good, but because they've lost so much and because they've picked so often in the top 5, top 10 picks in the Major League Baseball draft, no matter how bad of a season the Rockies have, and they're headed for historic territory, they cannot pick in the top 9 of the 2026 MLB draft. So they're losing games in historic and stunning fashion. They've got absolutely no hope in Colorado. Their rotation is still, after all these years, Herman Marquez, Kyle Freeland, and Antonio Senzatella. I have no idea how the Rockies aren't just claiming guys off waivers, hoping for better results. And yet, despite all of the losing, they can't have a top draft pick next year. What is going on in that franchise, I will never understand. But what I will say about that game, Padres are legit. Doesn't take a 21-run showing against the Rockies to prove it, but they're 12 games over 500, 25-13. Padres an absolute force to be reckoned with in the National League West. 25-13, very close to the record the Dodgers have put up. The Dodgers fall on Saturday 3-0 to the Arizona Diamondbacks, who've now taken 2 of 3 to begin that 4-game set. Dodgers fall back to 26-14 after that loss. The D-backs improved to 2 games over 500 at 21-19. Corbin Burns, 7 shutout innings. That is exactly why the Arizona Diamondbacks signed him. He's 2-1 with a 2.95 ERA right now. Dustin May takes the loss, 1-3, a 4.08 ERA. For the young right-hander for the Dodgers, Ryan Nelson gets the save. A 2-inning save for Nelson in relief of Corbin Burns, his first of the season. Eugenio Suarez homered in that ball game for Arizona. Remember, Suarez became the second player in Major League history just a few weeks ago to hit 4 home runs in a ball game of a losing effort for his team. Suarez hit 4 homers in a loss to the Atlanta Braves. They were all solo shots for Arizona in that one of the great statistical anomalies of this season. Now, 2 more games to tell you about from Saturday's action. The Angels defeated the Orioles 5-2. The Orioles, the biggest disappointment in Major League Baseball right now. Kyle Gibson falls to 0-2 with a 13.11 ERA on the season for that one. Baltimore, 10 games under 500 at 14-24, 6-15 on the road. The Angels, meanwhile, not really a factor in the American League West at 16-22. Still, the Angels taking 2 of 3 from the Giants a few weeks ago at the Big A. That's a disappointing series result for the Giants, especially that Sunday game where they were set up to win, where things looked so good, and then Ryan Walker came in and gave up 4 runs and a walk-off loss to Los Angeles. Then the last game to tell you about, the Toronto Blue Jays won 6-3 over the Seattle Mariners on Saturday. The Blue Jays, of course, 19-20 now. The Mariners 22-16, still leading that American League West. Florida got the win, Vargas the loss, and Jeff Hoffman saves on back-to-back days. That's save number 9 for Jeff Hoffman, who, of course, could have been part of that Baltimore Orioles bullpen. He was all set to sign in Baltimore this offseason. Former Philadelphia Phillies reliever, former Colorado Rockies pitcher. I believe he had spent some time with the Cincinnati Reds as well. This was his big payday, and then the Orioles failed his physical. And then he goes and signs with the Toronto Blue Jays, and he's been nothing but nails for the Blue Jays out of that bullpen. So a great story to the season for Jeff Hoffman. So that does it for our look around Major League Baseball on Sunday morning at all the scores from Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Of course, leading things off with the Giants, they fell 2-1 to the Minnesota Twins. It was Joe Ryan getting the win. He's now 3-2 with a 2.74 ERA. Logan Webb taking the loss, 4-3, a 2.60 ERA. And Joan Duran with save number 7 for the Minnesota Twins. Giant 24-16 at the quarter pole. When we come back, We will give you the lineups that Bob Melvin and Rocco Baldelli have put out for their respective clubs. It's Landon Root today, the fifth pitcher in the Giants rotation, up against the staff ace for the Minnesota Twins, Pablo Lopez. He's been so good so far this season for Minnesota. 11 strikeouts his last time out against the Baltimore Orioles. Giants hitters will have their hands full after scoring 1 run in back-to-back ball games. The offense has got to come to life. I'm Kerry Crowley. You're listening to Giants Warm-Up here on KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
Giants fans. First pitch isn't too far away as KNBR's Giants warm-up continues on the Sports Leader.
All right, we are back here on Giants warm-up. Kerry Crowley getting you set for Giants baseball. First pitch coming your way at 11:10 Pacific time. Pablo Lopez will throw it for the Minnesota Twins. Their staff ace, 3-2 with a 2.18 ERA on the season. And he'll be opposed by the young Giants right-hander Landon Roop, 2-3, a 4.89 ERA on the season for Roop. Fielding independent pitching numbers have been better, suggest that Roop has had some bad luck this year. Roop with a 3.95. If you're into the analytics, fielding independent pitching, kind of a look at how a pitcher performs without accounting for defense. So how many strikeouts does he get? How many walks does he limit? Is he able to keep the ball in the ballpark, limiting home runs as well? Roop, the numbers suggest that he's been better than his ERA would indicate. Unfortunately for the Giants, the same is true of Pablo Lopez, who still has that low 2.18 ERA. The numbers also suggest that number is unfortunate for Lopez. And, well, let's just put it this way. That's really good. He's elite. He's got great stuff, a true four-pitch guy. And this Giants lineup that scored just one run on Friday night and one run on Saturday, both solo shots, Chapman on Friday, Ramos on Saturday, it is going to have its hands full. But Bob Melvin shaking things up a little bit today. We're seeing a different look from the San Francisco Giants, at least at the bottom of the order, especially after that group has failed to provide some punch over the last really week or so for the Giants, ever since Tyler Fitzgerald went on the injured list with the fractured rib that is going to keep him out for about 2 weeks or so. The Giants have been searching for some help at the bottom of the order, and we will see if the lineup that Bob Melvin has provided today can provide it. Mike Yastrzemski will lead things off. He stays in the leadoff spot after having an extra base hit robbed of him to open up yesterday's ballgame against Joe Ryan. He hit a towering drive to right center field, but a great play out there from Willie Castro prevented Yastrzemski from extra bases. Probably would have been 2, if not 3, for Yastrzemski on the ball that he hit out to right center. He's got 5 homers on the season, 17 runs driven in, 2 stolen bases, average down to 262, but the OPS still hovering above 800 at 809 as he's still drawing some walks for the San Francisco Giants during a bit of a rough patch for Yastrzemski at the moment. Willie Adames will bat second today, the shortstop for the Giants. 4 homers, 19 runs driven in, 2 stolen bases. The average down at 218, the OPS at 639. Adames was really frustrated with the strike zone in yesterday's ball game. Took 2 called third strikes, including 1 to end the game. And he was really upset with the expanded outer half. He thought that, he had the eye on each of those pitches, and the home plate umpire said, "Nope, Willie, you're headed back to the dugout." In the first at-bat that he had, and the second time when he was called out on strikes, the umpire said, "No, Willie, this game is over." So Adames back in the 2 slot today for Bob Melvin, where he's hit all season long for the Giants. Jung-Hoo Lee will hit in the 3 spot in the order, but one of the tweaks that the Giants have made today, Lee getting a day off of his feet. He'll be the designated hitter against Pablo Lopez. So the Giants still want that left-handed bat in the order, but at the end of this road trip, the Giants trying to get Lee a little bit of a breather as he's really been grinding during the first 40 games of this regular season. 4 home runs for Lee, 23 runs driven in, 3 stolen bases. He's got a 2.87 average and an 804 OPS. Those numbers have come down significantly since the start of May. His numbers have fallen off a cliff, but because he was so great during the month of April, they're still very respectable for the season. The Giants would take 287 and 804 over the course of 162 from Jung-Hoo Lee. He's the man that they paid $113 million to last offseason, hoping that he could provide some stability in center field, and he has absolutely done that through the first 40 games of the season. A huge reason why the Giants enter today's series finale 8 games over 500. Matt Chapman, the cleanup man today for Bob Melvin's team. The third baseman has 8 home runs, 24 runs driven in, 5 stolen bases, a 217 average. You're never going to see a great average from Matt Chapman, but the OPS sitting at 781. That's a respectable total for the Giants' third baseman. Giants will take those numbers. 8 home runs puts Chapman on an interesting pace because, you think about today, a quarter of the way through this regular season, 40 games into 162, Chapman could be someone who ultimately helps the Giants break that 30 home run streak. No player with 30 home runs since Barry Bonds was the last to do so in a single season. Chapman, someone who's on pace right now for 32, hovering right at that mark. Elliot Ramos could also threaten it this year if he's able to pick up some of the week that he's had. 6 home runs on the season, including 1 yesterday for Ramos. 15 runs driven in, 3 stolen bases, a 268 average, a 789 OPS for Ramos. Those numbers coming up after the home run, the single, and the double in Saturday's ball game. But we wouldn't be able to mention Ramos without mentioning the fact that he was picked off of third base by Twins catcher Christian Vasquez in the late innings yesterday. Not a good look as the Giants were looking for the game-tying run. Ramos represented it, standing at third base with just 1 out in the inning. And, of course, he gets thrown out, and it changes the way that the rest of the game unfolds. So he's back in the 5th slot today in the order. Lamont Wade Jr. hitting 6th today for the Giants and playing first base. Wade, a 150 average, and the OPS down at 498 after another bad day at the plate. Giants hoping to get Gerard Encarnacion back and activated on May 23rd when he's eligible to come off the 60-day injured list. Encarnacion had a double at AAA Sacramento last night as he began a rehab assignment. But to say that the Giants are pinning their hopes on Encarnacion at first base really underscores the struggles that Wade has had to begin this 2025 regular season. Here's one of the tweaks the Giants have made. The bottom 3 spots in the order look different today. Luis Matos, the center fielder for the Giants today, playing out there in place of Jung-Hoo Lee, who's the DH. Matos with 3 homers, 4 runs driven in, and 1 stolen base on the year. Average down at 196. The OPS at 653, so he's had a little bit of pop with that average, but still not getting on base a whole lot in his limited opportunities. Sam Huff, the catcher today for Bob Melvin's team. Patrick Bailey gets the day off after his offensive numbers continue to nosedive. Huff with 1 home run. He hit it in Anaheim a few weeks ago. 3 runs driven in, a 206 average, and a 587 OPS for Sam Huff. And then the second baseman today is Brett Wisely. The left-handed hitter gets the call, still looking for his first hit of the regular season. Wisely does have 2 runs driven in, both on bunts. I was going to say bunt singles, but they were really sacrifice bunts that Wisely laid down that got the Giants some runs earlier this week at Wrigley Field. So playing small ball, that could be the name of the game. If Root pitches well, the Giants hoping to score early against Pablo Lopez of these Minnesota Twins. Speaking of the Twins, here's the lineup that Rocco Baldelli has thrown out for his ball club. Byron Buxton, the leadoff man, center fielder, 9 home runs on the season, 25 driven in, 8 stolen bases. Just a force to be reckoned with. An all-star caliber player, signed the $100 million extension with the Twins a few years ago. He's oft injured, but when he's healthy, Buxton, one of the best center fielders in Major League Baseball, 271 average and 849 OPS atop that Twins lineup. Trevor Larnach, who had a good day against Logan Webb on Saturday. He's the designated hitter. He's hit the Giants hard through the years. Left-handed hitter with 6 homers, 20 driven in, 1 stolen base, 232 average, and the OPS still under 700 at 693 on the season. Ty France over at first base. Today he gets the call, righty on righty with France against Landon Roop. He has 3 homers, 21 driven in. That leads all Minnesota starters save for Buxton today. So he's second place on the team in that category. 1 stolen base, 269 average for France and a 721 OPS. Again, France better in his career against lefties than he has been against righties, but the Twins just don't have great depth over at the first base position. Brooks Lee, the cleanup man, he's the shortstop, former top draft pick for Minnesota, switch hitter who will bat from the left side against Landon Roop. 2 homers, 7 driven in, 232 average, and a 638 OPS. Interesting that Rocco Baldelli is sticking with Brooks Lee. You'd figure, young player, they might move him down in the order, take some pressure off of him, but the Twins, like the Giants, just don't have a whole lot at the bottom half of their lineup. Ryan Jeffers, the catcher, will bat 5th today. Of course, Jeffers getting the start today with Christian Vasquez getting the day off. 2 homers, 15 driven in for Jeffers, who really splits time behind the plate. 257 average and a 738 on base plus slugging. Willie Castro with a big looping shot down to the right field corner was thrown out by Mike Yastrzemski on just an outstanding defensive play. Really a laser throw from Yaz in Saturday's ball game. Twins challenged it, but to no avail. The switch hitter will bat from the left side against Roop. 1 homer, 5 driven in, 1 stolen base, a 220 average, and a 610 OPS for Willie Castro. Royce Lewis gets the call in the 7th slot in the order, manning the hot corner today for the Minnesota Twins. Still looking for his first hit of the regular season after an 0-for on Saturday. An 071 OPS for Lewis, who's come off of the injured list for Minnesota in recent days, but still trying to get going at the plate. Cody Clemens, son of Roger, making the start at second base today for the Twins. 1 homer on the season. He hit it at Fenway Park last week in front of his dad, which was quite a sight at Fenway Park in front of the Red Sox fans. 2 runs driven in, an 095 average, and a 494 OPS for the former Philadelphia Phillies infielder. And then Harrison Bader, former Cardinal, former Met, former Yankee, the journeyman outfielder, will hit in the 9 slot today for Rocco Baldelli and his Minnesota Twins. 4 homers, 16 driven in, 4 stolen bases, a 290 average, and an 843 OPS for Bader, who's really been pretty good for Minnesota on the season so far. So those are the lineups for the respective ball clubs. And just real quick, today is game 6 of this road trip. We will take you through what has transpired on the road for the San Francisco Giants over the course of this week. First game they played on Monday evening. It was Landon Roop who got hit around early in that ball game. The Giants fell behind 2-0 in the third inning. They rallied to make it 2-2 in the fourth, but then Roop gives up 2 more runs in the fifth, and the Giants would never look back in that ball game. They ultimately lost 9-2. Hayden Birdsong came in the 6th inning, and he had a really rough out and gave up a leadoff home run to Carson Kelly. Giants committed 4 errors in that game, 2 from Matt Chapman, 2 from Willie Adames. So they started the road trip on a losing note as Landon Roop didn't pitch all that well against the Chicago Cubs. Looked good early, but ended up pitching just 5 innings, giving up 4 runs, 2 earned. So the ERA actually improved from that start, but nevertheless, the Giants lost that ball game. Then on Tuesday night, Giants got into a dangerous situation in the 9th inning. They were ahead 5-3 over the Chicago Cubs, and Ryan Walker comes into that game and ultimately blows the lead. He exits before he's able to blow the lead because the Giants wanted the left-on-left matchup with Eric Miller coming in to face Kyle Tucker with a runner on third base, game on the line, 2 outs. Miller gives up the game-tying single to Kyle Tucker, so it's 5-5. He's able to get out of that jam nevertheless, and then the Giants explode for 9 runs in the 11th inning over the Chicago Cubs. It was the highest scoring frame in extra innings in Giants history, and they win that game 14-5. Miller threw a scoreless 10th, and ultimately the revelation for the Giants in that game was Kyle Harrison making his season debut out of the bullpen. Once they had that 9-run lead, Harrison was just able to attack hitters. He picked up 2 strikeouts in 1 inning of work in relief for the Giants on Tuesday evening, a really strong inning that kind of gave them some confidence that Harrison might be a weapon for this team out of the bullpen. So they had split the first 2 games of that series in Chicago against the Cubs at Wrigley Field, which is always one of those fun ballparks for visiting fans who attend, and Giants fans attended showed out really well at Wrigley Field this week. And then on Wednesday, a day game matinee series finale, Robbie Ray got the ball for the Giants, and they won 3-1. Ray was outstanding yet again. He improved to 5-0 on the season, a 2.84 ERA for Robbie Ray, as the Giants have won all 8 of his starts this year. His next start will be, of course, at Oracle Park this week against the Arizona Diamondbacks. 3rd consecutive quality start for Robbie Ray, who goes 6 innings, giving up just 1 earned run. And then out of the bullpen, it was Camilo Doval, Tyler Rogers, and Ryan Walker shoving at the end of that game. Giants got into the Cubs bullpen early in that one, but of course it was the big double from Lamont Wade Jr. that helped set the Giants up for success in that game. So they end up taking 2 of 3 from the Chicago Cubs. They fly to Minneapolis on Wednesday afternoon. They're all excited because a number of members of the Giants traveling party, including manager Bob Melvin, they went over to Target Center on Thursday with the day off, and they were able to watch the Golden State Warriors in Game 2 of their NBA Western Conference semifinal series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. No Steph Curry. The Giants thought that they could bring some magic into the building, supporting their team just down the street down at China Basin, and the Warriors end up getting blown out in Game 2 of that game. Steve Kerr used all 14 players available to him during the first half of a tough loss in Game 2. So the Giants, they watch the Warriors lose, and then they come back on Friday evening. They look lifeless on Friday night at the plate against the Minnesota Twins. They lose 3-1. It was a very rough night for Giants hitters against Chris Paddock, who came to the game with an ERA well above 5. He lowered his ERA by more than a full point against Giants hitters, going 7 1/3 innings. The only run the Giants scratched across on Friday evening was Matt Chapman hitting a solo home run out to left field. It was the 8th of the season for Chapman in that ball game, but the Giants could not do damage against Louis Varland, Danny Colombe at the end of that game. Kyle Harrison comes in relief behind Jordan Hicks, who went 6 innings, giving up 3 runs and a quality start. Harrison goes 2 innings, does not give up a hit, does walk 3 batters in the Friday loss, picks up 3 strikeouts as he continued with his second strong bullpen outing of the week for the San Francisco Giants. So you figure on Saturday, they've got Logan Webb going. It's Joe Ryan. That's a game the Giants absolutely have to have with their ace on the hill. If you tell me that Logan Webb goes 7 innings of 2-run ball, I'll tell you, Giants probably win that ball game, I don't know, 7, 8 times out of 10. Yesterday, unfortunately for the Giants, was one of those 2 or 3 games in which they did not have enough offense. It's been the story of Logan Webb's career. The Giants have not been able to provide him with the requisite run support to win ball games. And so Logan Webb ultimately takes loss number 3 of the season, despite lowering his ERA to 2.60. With 7 innings, 9 strikeouts against Minnesota. Randy Rodriguez had a perfect 1-2-3 inning with 3 strikeouts out of the bullpen. But of course, Elliot Ramos had the home run in the 2nd inning off of Joe Ryan. That was the only run the Giants would score. Ramos again threatened late in the 8th inning with the double, advancing to third base on the long fly ball from 7th place hitter Lamont Wade Jr. But with Patrick Bailey at the plate, Ramos got picked off of third base by the Minnesota Twins catcher Christian Vasquez. An unfortunate series of events that cost the Giants an opportunity to come in and tie that ball game in the 8th inning. They were silent in the 9th, and there was no hope for the Giants. So they have lost this series against Minnesota, and they head into Sunday's finale on the road, hoping to split this road trip, trying to make it 3-3, and they've got their hands full against Pablo Lopez, the ace of this Minnesota Twins staff, up against Landon Roop, the 5th pitcher in this Giants rotation. So when we come back, we'll talk more about the Giants. The 40-game mark of the season, 24-16 is their record through the first quarter of the first season of the Buster Posey era in San Francisco. I am Kerry Crowley. You're listening to Giants Warm Up here on KNBR 104.5, 680, the Sports Leader.
KNBR Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the Sports Leader.
We are back here on Giants warm-up. Kerry Crowley getting you set for Giants baseball series finale coming your way 11:10 Pacific time from Minneapolis. Target Field, where the Giants trying to salvage Game 3 of this 3-game set. They lost 3-1 on Friday, 2-1 on Saturday, and they'll send Landon Roop to the hill today, trying to get win number 25 of the season. Gosh, I love this song. Great work, Raph. Your Love by the Outfield. I have to admit, I had the privilege of traveling around Major League Baseball on the beat for 5 years, covering the San Francisco Giants for the Bay Area News Group, San Jose Mercury News. And, I think I've been to 24 of the 30 active stadiums in Major League Baseball. I didn't go to Steinbrenner Field, of course, which is where the Tampa Bay Rays are playing right now. But I did go to Sutter Health Park, where the A's are playing in Sacramento right now, because I often visited the River Cats, checking in on the Giants AAA facility. You see Wrigley Field, you see Fenway Park, you see Yankee Stadium. I rag on the Colorado Rockies a lot. I talk about some of the great stadiums around Major League Baseball. I talk about some of the great teams and franchises around Major League Baseball. And then whenever I read the scores, read the standings, I say, oh, what a mess the Rockies are. What a terrible team they are. What a directionless franchise Colorado is. But you know what? One of my favorite memories from traveling around the country was when Charlie Blackmon, 14th-year veteran, would come up to the plate for the Colorado Rockies. They would play Your Love by the Outfield. That would be his walk-up song at Coors Field, where the Rockies were just terrible. Every year that I was on the beat, the Rockies were hopeless. They'd lose 85, 90 games, sometimes 100, and yet they always drew 30,000 plus. They always had awesome fireworks nights, and every time Charlie Blackmon would come to the plate, they'd play Your Love by the Outfield, and the fans would belt it out. It was one of the more special plate appearances you would see around Major League Baseball. You go to Fenway Park, you go to Yankee Stadium, Wrigley Field, and the Rockies had something special at Coors Field. And maybe that's one of the reasons I'm so hard on them, because I think what the Giants have built at Oracle Park is obviously sensational. 25 years in the city by the bay, with Barry Bonds kicking things off, launching home runs into McCovey Cove. What the Padres have at Petco Park is really special. The Dodgers, the atmosphere they have down at Dodger Stadium. Regardless of whether you're a Giants fan who hates the Dodgers, you have to acknowledge when they bring 50,000 plus into that stadium, it is one of the most difficult places to play. And the Rockies have all the pieces for a great environment. They have the home field advantage playing at a mile-high stadium. They've got this incredible fan base that shows up despite the fact the team is atrocious, despite the fact that they never have hope on an annual basis. And they've got Charlie Blackmon and, Your Love by the Outfield blaring. And even that's been eliminated this year, with Blackmon retiring and no player living there to carry on that mantle. So I don't know. I think that one of the reasons I'm so hard on Colorado is because I saw the potential. Like, there are teams around the country, the Minnesota Twins, for example, who struggle to get 30,000 in the stadium when they're good. There are teams in the Central Divisions who would just be thrilled to get 30,000 in the stadium in a year where they win 90 games. The Colorado Rockies would do that. They'd get 40 on fireworks nights, on bobblehead nights. And yet, the franchise was always a joke. I mean, the franchise just never had an opportunity to contend. So 40 games into this Giants season, here the Giants are trying to win in Minnesota on Sunday, May 11th, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Of course, we had a great segment at the beginning of the show, and I know that we will continue to acknowledge all the moms out there today on KNBR during today's Giants broadcast, and of course during Extra Innings as well with Bill Lasky, which, by the way, a preview of Extra Innings today. Speaking of great things on KNBR, Bill has put together an insane guest list. This is awesome. He's got Bryce Eldridge, the #1 prospect in the Giants farm system, fresh off of his second home run of the season last night for the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Bryce Eldridge will join Extra Innings today, and one of my all-time favorites, Joe Nathan, who I always wish the Giants held on to, former Minnesota Twins great, the closer there, Hall of Famer. Joe Nathan will join Extra Innings today with Bill Lasky as well. So just an awesome 1-2 punch of Bryce Eldridge, the future of the San Francisco Giants, and Joe Nathan, once a top Giants prospect who went to the Twins, of course, in one of the most famous deals that Brian Sabean made that he lost. I mean, there's no argument that Francisco Liriano and Joe Nathan to the Minnesota Twins in the same deal that brought the Giants A.J. Pierzynski, not just one of the worst trades in Giants history, but really maybe one of the worst trades in baseball history. How about that? The fact that Francisco Liriano was a part of the San Francisco Giants organization and went over in November of 2003 alongside Joe Nathan for just A.J. Pierzynski? Really? I mean, come on. Liriano was up in the big leagues in 2005. He was an all-star in 2006, finished third in Rookie of the Year voting. The Giants had traded him away in the same deal where Joe Nathan, I mean, my goodness, Joe Nathan, early years of his career with the San Francisco Giants, made his debut in 1999 with the Giants, and he was a starter. You have to remember that. The Giants viewed him as a starter, and he was kind of a failed starter as well. 2000, he had a 5.21 ERA, and then he really doesn't pitch that much. In 2002, riddled by injuries, and he comes back in 2003. The Giants finally use him out of the bullpen. No saves, though, in 78 appearances, a 2.96 ERA, so that offseason, they say, we could part with Joe Nathan. We can get this guy up. He goes to Minnesota, becomes the closer, and this is the next decade for Joe Nathan. 2004, 44 saves, 43 in 05, 36 in 06, 37 in 07, 39. I mean, the list goes on. Joe Nathan finishing with 377 career saves, ultimately a six-time All-Star, could be bound for the Hall of Fame one day. I just think that that trade will haunt the San Francisco Giants for years to come. It's one that we'll always remember, the A.J. Pierzynski deal. So how about that? But yeah, great stuff for Bill Lasky on the show this afternoon. Extra innings, good preview of Bryce Eldridge and Joe Nathan of what's to come. On the other side, when we come back, we'll look at the Giants through 40 games so far this season, a 40-game stretch to begin the year. They're at the quarter pole, 24 wins, 16 losses. The Giants need to bounce back from 2 early losses in this series to Minnesota. But so far through this season, they've exceeded expectations. There's a lot to be excited about if you're a San Francisco Giants fan. So more on the other side. You're listening to KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
getting you in the mood for a crazy crab sandwich, some garlic fries, a cha-cha bowl, and some orange and black baseball. KNBR's Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the sports leader.
We are back on Giants warm-up. Kerry Crowley helping get you set for Giants baseball on the radio. Giants lose 3-1 on Friday night to the Twins, 2-1 on Saturday evening to Minnesota. And it's a matinee getaway day for the Giants before they prepare to come home and take on the Arizona Diamondbacks for a 3-game set. First look at the NL West foes to kick off a 9-game homestand. Pablo Lopez going for Minnesota today, landing a root for the San Francisco Giants. And the Giants at the quarter pole, 40 games in to this 162-game campaign. They're sitting at 24-16 to start this Buster Posey era. I think that's a good place to leave off for the end of our Giants forum today, is to evaluate the Giants through the first quarter of this first season of Buster Posey's tenure as the president of baseball operations. The Giants pitching staff, the clear strength of this team right now, a 3.42 ERA, which ranks 6th in Major League Baseball. But more importantly, in my opinion, the bullpen ERA is the best in baseball. 2.60 on the season. Giants relievers have been the clear strength for this team. We've talked a little bit over the last week about the closer dilemma that Bob Melvin faces, how Ryan Walker hasn't necessarily been as sharp, and Camilo Doval has been better in the 7th and 8th innings than he's been in the 9th inning. Tyler Rogers has always been an 8th inning guy. You throw him in the 9th inning and things start to get a little wild for the durable setup man for the Giants. But I think that overall, the Giants will take this. Logan Webb is the leader and the ace of this staff, and that is very clear after his 7-inning, 2-run outing against the Minnesota Twins, even in a loss. He lowered his ERA to 2.60 on the season, leads the National League with 55 1/3 innings this year. And you anticipate that by the end of the season, Logan Webb will once again be at or near the top of Major League Baseball in innings pitched. His ERA consistently low across the board. There's a few blowups in the first inning from time to time, but he is one of the best when it comes to Major League Baseball. And pitchers who evolved through the years, Webb has always shown that he can adapt and improve, and the Giants admire and love that about him. It's one of the reasons they gave him that 5-year, $90 million extension a couple of seasons ago. Justin Verlander, the number 2 slot in the rotation, he's starting to hit his stride, still looking for win number 1. The Giants hope that that will come on Monday evening at Oracle Park against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then Robbie Ray has been really perhaps the best story in this Giants rotation to open the year. Ray, 5 wins already. Giants 8-0 in his 8 outings this year. He's been a difference maker. You look at this team, it's 8 games over 500. It's Robbie Ray. This has been the guy who the Giants have been able to rely on in their starting rotation since day one of the regular season. He's gotten better. 3 consecutive quality starts for this team, including a couple of 7-inning outings. This is someone coming off Tommy John surgery 2 years ago. He's located the ball. The command is better. He's being more economical with his pitch count. This is the Robbie Ray the Giants envisioned when they acquired him, when Farhan Zaidi brought him in the salary dump of Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani last January. On the flip side of it, though, as good as the pitching's been, 6th best ERA in Major League Baseball, best bullpen in Major League Baseball, you look at the lineup, and so far right now, Giants 19th in Major League Baseball with an OPS, an on-base plus slugging, of .686. It's not going to cut it. You look at their batting average. They're 24th in Major League Baseball with an average of .231. You look at their on-base percentage. They're 22nd, .306. This is a Giants team that desperately needs more. Now, they've gotten some help from the pop in this lineup. They're 15th in the major leagues with 41 home runs. But if the Giants are going to realize their potential this season, if they are going to be a playoff team, I think that nearly every offensive stat has to be in line with the home run total. What I mean by that is 41 home runs ranks 15th in Major League Baseball. That is right in the middle of 30 teams. I think they need the OPS and they need the average right around 15th. Instead, those numbers, 19th and 24th, some cause for concern. And you point to the cause for concern at the bottom half of the Giants' order. Giants have not received production from first baseman Lamont Wade Jr., and yet they're stuck playing him because Gerard Encarnacion is on the injured list, because Wilmer Flores is cooled off and they don't want to use him defensively, and Casey Schmidt is also on the injured list. They haven't gotten anything out of the catcher position. Patrick Bailey really struggling. Sam Huff, maybe the better offensive force for this Giants team. And, I don't want to be revisionist history. It was time to let Joey Bart go when he was let go last year, but he's the cleanup hitter for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's been one of the best offensive catchers in the National League this year. Did the Giants make the wrong decision there? Now, Bailey obviously provides so much from a defensive standpoint, and is so important with the glove that you can't overlook that because this pitching staff has been so good. But you can't have multiple positions on the diamond where you're not getting any offensive production. The Giants have that at first base. They've got that at catcher. And they've also got it at second base with Tyler Fitzgerald on the injured list. He was hitting right around 300, OPS around 800. They were getting the requisite production. But Fitzgerald on the IL has thrust Christian Koss and Brett Wisely into the spotlight. They're not ready for the spotlight. You couple that with Willy Adames performing well below expectations at the shortstop position, offensively and defensively. And to me, it's Adames who needs to be the one to step up. Giants gave him the 7-year, $182 million contract with the expectation that he could be a superstar. And right now, in the number 2 slot in the order, he's been nothing more than just a guy. Over the last 3 weeks, he's been significantly better, but he's cooled off again to start this series against the Twins. Took 2 strikeouts looking, including one, to end Saturday's ball game against Minnesota. The Giants need more from Adames. They need more from most of the hitters in the lineup. The quarter pole, the pitching, encouraging, keeping the Giants competitive, keeping them in ball games. The lineup, the area of concern that's beginning to emerge for Buster Posey's ball club. Can it be fixed with one big acquisition? Can it be fixed with certain players like Adames just performing up to expectations? We shall see. And we shall see if the Giants can rectify things in this series finale against the Minnesota Twins today. It's Landon Roop, it's Pablo Lopez, and it's all coming your way. Giants pregame shortly. That's it for Giants warm-up. Shout out to our producer, Rafael Corral, who's done such an excellent job guiding us through talking baseball and Giants warm-up this morning. Giants pregame on the other side. You'll have the Giants game, and then, of course, Bill Lasky with extra innings. 2 great guests, Bryce Eldridge and, of course, Joe Nathan as well. Former Giants pitcher who became a 6-time All-Star with the Minnesota Twins. Here on KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.